All right.
Lee, how's this other angle now?
That's you guys are going to hear right now. We're live, and you're going to hear some noise in the background. That's just my friend Steve here with Howard in his home, getting this lecture ready. But I want to thank all of you guys for joining us. If you're new to the forum or you're not familiar with the Magicians Forum, I created a forum. I think it's been about a year and a half ago as just another option. We've tried to really create a friendly, positive community for people to come and learn magic. And I believe we've done that. We've got a lot of great magicians, knowledgeable magicians. It's a troll-free environment, believe it or not. We've been able to foster that because it sort of moderates itself, the place. So anyhow, I'd love you to go and check it out. It's themagiciansforum.com. I encourage you to go register. We have online sessions that take place periodically. Are called our Saturday sessions, which have not been as frequent as I had hoped, but I'm hoping that that'll happen here in the near future. And then we also have lectures like the one you're watching today. We've had people like Harry Lorraine, Paula Gordon, Mike Powers, Friedberg, Stephen Ewell, Steve Reynolds, and Eric Jones. So anyway, we've had a number of really great lectures, and now we get to add this one. So most of you are already familiar with but if not, I just very quickly will tell you that I had seen him over at the Magic Castle, and he was just sitting there at that table underneath Vernon's little his portrait there, and it was just me and Howard at the table. He began to just screw with my mind, a shuffled deck, and he had me peek at one, and he was able to spell to it multiple times with my shuffled deck. It was really impressive, and now that I've got to get to know him a little better, each call as we've been preparing for this lecture, he's been stunning me with one trick after another, and some of those things he's going to teach us today. And so I'm very grateful to Howard for his willingness to share his magic with us. He's going to be teaching us stuff from Charlie Miller that he's learned that wasn't taught in any of his other lectures. So that's exciting. And my friend Steve Christian is over there helping me co-host this thing. He'll be kind of the man behind the curtain over there, moving and shifting the cameras around. So I hope you'll be patient with us. These lectures, we strive for excellence, but they're very organic and kind of a casual atmosphere, and I think that's what makes them fun and special. So I will shut my hole, and at this point I'm going to turn it on over to my friend Howard, and I will let him introduce himself. So ladies and gentlemen, here is my friend Howard Hamburg. Here you go, Howard. It is all yours, my friend.
Great. It's my pleasure being with all of you two today. And I'm looking forward in sharing many of my effects and explanations with you, and interspersed throughout, I will be sharing a lot of my stories involving my relationships and experiences with the greats of magic that I was very, very fortunate to be able to associate with, such as the Professor Di Vernon and Charlie Miller, Michael Skinner, Larry Jennings, Francis Carlisle, et cetera, if you're able to use any of my material I'll be sharing with you, I've accomplished my goal. Lectures using this format are a very good tool. However, performing or lecturing in front of a live audience is much better for not only the lecture, but also the audience. Francis Carlisle once told me that you must connect with the audience within the first minute, the first 3 seconds. If you don't, then you lose them. And it must be sincere. I don't know how many of you have been to let's say a magic environment where they introduce a magician. He comes out and says, good evening, how are you doing? You having a good time? Well, you know something, the audience really doesn't believe that you're sincere with it. They really don't think that you really care whether they're having a good time or not. And so because of that, it's coming from here and not from the heart. And if you connect with your audience within the first 3 seconds, I don't care what the venue is, parlor, close-up, street magic, palace, within the first 3 seconds, then they're comfortable with you. They're almost taking their shoes off, and now you have a better control of your audience. So I just wanted to share that with you. This first effect that I'm going to do, I came up with many, many, many years ago, And I've had people ask me to share it with them. And maybe I could, if Steve wants to be over here, I'll get Steve to be the part of the audience.
I'm just giving you a little an angle where we can see those.
Well, I'm still on camera, right? Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and make believe that Steve can select a card. He's back in the camera now, and he can show the card to the audience. Okay.
Got it.
And I will take the card back from you and I'll place it somewhere here in the middle of the deck. And please make sure you can see it from there. I guess you can. And you give the cards a little mix. And then I'm going to ask Steve to be nice enough to show the audience that the case is empty. I don't know if you can get it to the camera or not.
I see nothing in there.
Okay. And so hopefully Steve's card is going to mysteriously rise from the deck. I say hopefully. And I place the cards into the empty card box. And, oh, Steve, do me one favor. I'm very, very sorry. Would you cut the deck?
Wow.
And now we're going to set out to what we originally wanted to do, and hopefully his card will rise. So we place it into the empty card box, and you watch. Something made that happen. What was the name of your card?
The 5 of spades.
Awesome. Bravo. That's great, Howard.
That was.
For the boys, when I did this in Escorial, I did this at the end. But, anyhow, let's just review it. The cards are shuffled. A person has a free selection. And I use tilt for the control. So after they select the card, I make sure that everyone sees this. And I'm into the second card from the top in the tilt position. And I give the cards a little shuffle. And while I'm doing that, I ask for the spectators to take a look to see that the box is empty, which they can see it is empty. And as they're doing that, I just go ahead and control their card now to this position. Okay? I say, well, hopefully your card's going to mysteriously rise from the deck. And I place the cards really into the empty card box. And I say, I forgot. Would you mind shuffling the cards or cutting them and so forth? To them and to the audience, it's an empty card box, but it's not. And if you look carefully, attached to the stamp is their card.
That's so smart.
So when I opened the deck originally to open the cards, I cut so that the stamp is right in a straight line with the top edge. So that box is sitting in front of the audience and they can look at it all they want. At this point, I reiterate, because remember, I took them out. I said, oh, I forgot to have you cut the cards. And I say, so let's go forth with what we wanted to accomplish. If you'll notice, I don't know how, I'll move this out. If you notice, when I use the flap to protect myself when I put these cards in.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I'm going to press in the middle where the stamp is. Now, the card still stays there because of the stickiness, but it doesn't stay there at the ends. There is no stamp. So you'll see that it breaks away. Can you see that? And it breaks away from the case.
Wow, that's smart.
So when I come up here, I press down and I place it in here. And now I'll do it for the audience behind me so you guys can see what's happening. I say in a moment, and this is what I'm doing. Okay, so you see this. And immediately I come here and move my finger around, because for the smart magicians who want to count them. And then I say, something made that happen. Well, what would have happened? What would make it happen to rise would be the card.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask them the name of the card, and they tell me the 9 of spades, and I see the position of it. I can see it from the side. It's close to an area that I want to make it look a little better. So I spread like so, and it appears in the middle, even though there's 12 cards here.
Wow.
Let's say, for instance, that when you do this, I'll give you an example. Let's say it's like so. What was it? And I'm like this. What was the name of your card? The 10 of spades. I'm going to do it over here so you get a better idea. There's only maybe 15 cards from the front. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would spread very thin and then thick. To the audience, it's in the middle of the deck. There's only 12 cards over here, but they don't pick up on that.
Right.
And so that is the rising card trick.
Wow. Bravo. That's
Very good.
I love that.
Howard, could I ask there's a subtlety that you use with tilt.
Yes.
That you performed it, but I don't know if you gave that much detail on that. That's that last look for the spectator.
Well, yes. In tilt, it's a wonderful move. But there's a little problem that I have with it, in which I see magicians use. I'll place your card in the middle of the deck. Why don't I push it all the way into the middle? Why, when I do this, don't I push it all the way in the middle? Well, the answer is I'm going to do tilt. So now what happens is, as I come up with their card, I have my tilt position ready, right here. And I'm going to place your card somewhere in the middle. Oh, by the way, please don't forget your card.
Mm-hmm.
And now come back and do that.
Right.
And this makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's great.
Because this doesn't look right to me. But to each his own. But that's what I do. I say, I place your card in the middle. Oh, by the way, that little move is Howie Schwartzman's. I'll place your card in the middle. Oh, by the way, please don't forget your card. And now it makes sense.
Man, I like that.
Okay.
That's great.
Right.
Wow, that's good.
That is smart. Thanks, Howard.
Let's try this. And by the way, if there's any questions, anyone can chirp up and answer, because it's difficult for me to see what I'm really doing here.
Right.
I'm just accepting the camera as it is.
Well, I will tell you that, Howard, everybody's loving what you're doing, and you're getting claps, although they're of course silent claps, but people are enjoying what you're putting. So thank you.
Okay. So if you're straight on, listen, it's immaterial. It doesn't matter what card I use. I'm going to use the 9. Okay. The 9 of what? I didn't even see what it was. The 9 of diamonds. I guess it was 9 of diamonds. I'm going to place the 9 of diamonds in the middle of the deck. I'm going to cast a shadow over the deck. Did you see anything occur?
No, fair.
That shadow brought my card, the 9 of diamonds, from the middle of the deck all the way back to the top where it started, merely by casting a shadow. So let's forget my card, the 9 of diamonds. Steve, would you be nice enough to select a card? And I'll take it back. And I'm going to mark your card with this, what do you call it? Oh, paper clip. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, can you?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll place your card somewhere here in the middle of the deck with the paper clip. Now remember, my card, the 9 of diamonds, is on the very, very top of the deck. And yet, if I cast that shadow, this occurs here.
I think that's so brilliant, man. Wow.
Steve, do me a favor. Hold out your right hand palm up and place your left hand on top of it. And now I'm going to cast 3 shadows. And that's now caused my card, the 9 of diamonds, to turn face down. Go through it as quickly as possible. The only card face down in between your hands.
That's
Great.
Okay, a lot of fun with this. I have a lot of fun with this effect. First of all, you can do whatever you want to reveal your card. I happen, one could do this double lift. I like to do a double lift from the center of the deck as I'm talking, and I use the back of my fingernail to hear the click, click. So I can do 2 cards, 3 cards, 4 cards. And so I'm here, click, click, and now it's framed up, and my hand is free. And I get a nice sound off that corner. I say, we'll use the ace. Now, I could say we use the ace of hearts. I could just do that. But if I said we'll use the ace of hearts, why would I show it again? So I say we'll use the ace. And then I say, oh, the ace of hearts. And what I'm doing is just coming here and bringing this card back. So they see this card. And the retention on it is very, very strong. So that apparently goes in the middle of the deck. And this shadow is very, very important. I cast a shadow over the deck. Did you see anything happen? They say, no. That shadow brought my card, the ace of hearts, from the middle of the deck all the way past the other cards to the very top where it started. So let's forget my card, the ace of hearts. If I wanted you to forget my card, why would I mention it again? I say to you, let's forget my card, the ace of hearts. The reason I say that is I don't want you to forget it. If I say, let's forget my card, that would be the end of the statement. But let's forget my card, the ace of hearts. Now, person selects a card. They take a look at it. I have them place it back. And by the way, you'll only go to your local Office Depot or whatever. You want the vinyl coated paper clips. You don't want metal. These are vinyl. They come in different colors. And I say, I'm going to mark your card with this paper clip. Now, this is very interesting. This has to go over here to this side. Can you see that?
I can, yes.
Okay. But why would I do this and do this? It looks strange. So I say, we'll mark your card with this paper clip as I push it in. Now I say, we'll take your card with the paper clip, and now I'm getting ready for tilt again.
Mm-hmm.
And place it into the deck with the paper clip.
Man.
This part of the flesh hides that paper clip. You can't see it because my thumb has got flesh on it, just like everyone else. And now I say, I forgot what my card was.
The original ace of hearts.
So is that what? Okay. I say, look, remember my card, and I'm going to do this open so you see. Can you, yeah, I'll do it like this. My card, and now it's past the clip and it comes back.
Man.
Boom. So let's just go over this one quick thing, please. I do a double lift. I show my card, and I say it's immaterial to what card I use. So well, I'll use the ace of spades. We'll place the ace of spades somewhere in the middle of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to cast a shadow. Now that casting the shadow is extremely important in this effect. Did you see anything happen? They say, no, the shadow has brought my card, the ace of spades, in the middle of the deck, all the way past the other cards to the very top. So let's forget my card, the ace of spades. Would you select the card, sir? And I take the card back. I ask them just to return it. And I say, let's mark your card with this, what do you call these things? I see, I don't know what it's called. But I leave it halfway on. I don't take it all the way up. And I turn it, use my thumb to push it on. This paper clip. And we'll place your card somewhere here in the middle of the deck with the paper clip. And then I say, remember my card, the ace of spades, is on the very, very top. And this is what's happening over here. You see how the paper clip, how it's going past the paper clip.
Mm-hmm.
and underneath it. You see that? I don't know.
It's a little, there you go. Steve, can you adjust that? It's a little bit overexposed. I'm glad you're redoing it. This is great, fellas. That's better. There we go. All right. Hold on one second. I think you muted yourself on accident, Steve. Hold on. I don't think Steve, you actually, there.
You're muted, guys.
You muted yourself, Steve. People are saying, well, this sure isn't a penguin lecture.
Let's say it's the queen of spades.
There we go.
And I say, look, we'll place your card with the paper clip in the middle of the deck.
There we go.
Remember my card, the whatever it is, the ace of spades on the very top of the deck. Now, how did that get there? Remember, it's here. As I push it over, the clip is right here, and it comes back.
Yeah.
So that's why this I said, we'll take your card. My card is the ace of spades, and now I cast that shadow. So basically, that shadow is covering for this surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have to get that clip over here. How does one do that? I'm squaring up the cards as I reach for this corner. I turn it over, and I flop it down. I've accomplished what I wanted to do.
That's smart.
Now I say to them, I'll say to them, I want you to hold your hand. Now they think they know it's a queen of spades. I want you to hold your palm up. And as I say that, you have a natural break here. I mean, you could drive a truck through there because of the paper clip. So if I go into here and push and pull at the same time, this is what you see. And the transposition's already been made.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Dude, that's awesome.
We'll do it again. Doesn't matter what the card is. Would you hold out your hand and I'll place it on top of you? Up. And now I say I'm going to make 3 passes and so forth, which has caused my card, and in this case, it's going to be second from the bottom in this case. My card of turn, or it's going to be over here, face down. Remember, yours is the 9. We just reversed it. And I go like this, face down, the only card face down. I stop, come back, face down, in between your hands. And they turn it over.
That's brilliant.
Transposition.
I love it. That's so great, Howard. I'm so glad you went over it again. That's awesome because it seems like some people the camera stalled out on them, but you redoing it now, I think it's perfect. I don't think we have to go over that. And remember, fellas, you'll have access to this video later. So, and I'll send the link out really just maybe 45 minutes to an hour after we're done here. Now, Howard, in our most recent conversations, part of one of the things that's fascinating about you is the many relationships that you've built over, your however long you've been doing magic, your stories of how you met Vernon or Charlie Miller or all the other great magicians. You showed me some stuff, and I'm sure you must have an order there how you want to present stuff, but you showed me some false cuts that you learned from Charlie Miller. Would you take a moment to show that and maybe a little bit about Charlie Miller?
Rudy, I'm going to get into that, but I would, as long as you brought up the professor's name, I'd just take a few minutes to explain how I met him.
Yes, please.
When I was 12 years old in Rochester, New York, I had a job in a pool hall, and I was cleaning ashtrays and putting the cues in the racks and making sure the tables were clean. And I was 12 years old. I got 25 cents an hour. In 1951, that was a lot of money. Okay, and they used to put a sock on my hand. I used to clean the ashtrays like this, so you wouldn't get your hands dirty. And they had a bust-out joint in the back. It's a place where you went in with money, played cards, and came out with no money. It was just a. They call them subway dealers. They didn't call them bottom dealers. I think the magic fraternity now makes them call bottom dealers. They're called subway dealers underneath. That's what they dealt off the bottom. And I asked this I asked this mechanic, I said, would you mind showing me how to shuffle a deck and retain all the cards and do a cut and retain all the cards? And he did. I was 16 years old. I went into a magic shop for the very first time in Rochester. There was a young boy there who did some beautiful magic. The imp bottle. I mean, he took a simple little item and made this incredible effect. And I showed him the false shuffle and false cut. He was very appreciative of it. And this 14-year-old said to me, you know, one day, Howard, I'm going to be one of the best magicians in the world. And it came to fruition. His name was Michael Skinner.
Oh.
And Michael and I were friends to the day we lost him. But later on, I was at much later on, I was at the Hollywood Magic. And I became friends with a gentleman by the name of Ray Grismer. Ray had some beautiful magic. He was a school teacher who played jazz piano. And he told me, he says, this was in 1970. And even though I've been to the castle, I think 1964 was the earliest time I was there with my friend Tony Giorgio, who we were friends for 53 years. One of the finest card muckers and dice switchers I've ever met in my life. And he took me there and I saw some magic. And now it's about the 8th, 9th of January. And Ray Grismer, like I say, he taught jazz piano beside being a school teacher. And he said, I got a piano student. And in return, the piano student is teaching Ray magic. He said, would you like to meet my piano student? I said, sure. So we walked into the castle. It was on a Friday. He says, Howard, my piano student, Di Vernon. And I mean, I was in shock because I knew the name. I'd seen a few books and so forth on magic. I started getting a liking towards it. And we sat down and he was asked, what kind of magic do you like? And I said, well, I can only do one thing, Mr. Vernon. I can do Triumph. And that's it. I said, I'm more involved with other things with cards. And we started talking about drifters back east, and he mentioned one in particular. I said, yes, I do know him. And I said, I also know his brother, Frank. And his eyes just opened. He found somebody that knew these guys way back east. And he said, on Monday, there's going to be a committee that you go to, and you show them some stuff to become a magician member. And he said, why don't you do that? I said, but I can only do one trick, one thing called Triumph, your effect Triumph. So I get a couple books over the weekend, read a couple things, you'll be fine. And so that Monday, I walked into the castle, down the stairs to this dark room. There was a table that had light on it. There were 6 guys with little white name tags on them, a membership committee. And they started asking me questions. When did you first get involved with magic? I said, oh, when my uncle took a nickel from my ear and I was 8 years old. I just making up things. And what kind of books did you read? I said, Royal Road to Card Magic, Expert Card Table, Expert Card Technique, and so forth. And because of me being maybe nervous, I was shuffling and cutting the cards as they were asking me questions. And I'll make this short. One of them finally said, well, we don't want to see you shuffling and cutting cards for 5 minutes. Show us something. I said, well, I already have. They said, what do you mean? And I turned the deck face up. It was a new deck order.
No.
Now, this is honest to God truth. Sitting in the back of the room in the dark was Charlie Miller and Di Vernon. They were on the committee. And this is exactly word for word what we heard from Di. He said, do we need to see anything more, boys? And I got into the Magic Castle. I never did a trick. Wow. So I want to share that with you. But I will get back to the Miller stuff in a moment.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Howard. Appreciate it.
Let's see here. We get this reset.
I'm just going to make sure that I've got your hands above those.
Where the heck did I put my deck? My head of deck. You know, when you get old, you know, and all of a sudden your memory. I'm 78, and you start forgetting things. I had a deck of cards. I had. Oh, it's sitting right here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask Steve to help me.
Sure.
Can you see the picture all right? Is it all right?
That's what they're seeing right now. It's great.
Steve, do me a favor. Take the deck and start dealing face down on top of each other 20 cards.
10. 20.
Good. Pick them up. So we have a shuffle deck that you just counted 20 cards. I want you to start dealing them face down on top of each other. And you can stop anytime you want. And I'd like you to take the two halves and just shuffle them together. Push them in. So let's just review here before we proceed. A shuffle deck, he dealt down 20 cards. He stopped when he wanted to, and he just shuffled. And I'm not touching them. I would like you to pick them up, Steve, and start dealing face down on top of each other 5 cards. 5, right? 5 over here. And 5 here. And the rest over here. Now, after all this is not going to be a magician's choice here. Whatever packet Steve picks up is the one we're going to use. There's no other things that are going to be involved here. Which packet you want? Okay. I would like you to spread the cards face up on the table. And do me a favor, would you mind adding up the values?
8 3 is 11, plus 5 makes 16, and we have 26, and 6 more makes 32.
Isn't that interesting?
That he's so fast at math? Yeah.
It is interesting, because that's the exact amount of change that's sitting in front of Steve now before we start the effect.
Count it, Steve. Is it 32 cents? That's awesome.
That's a quarter and a nickel makes 30, plus 1 plus 2 is 32.
That's awesome. That's great.
Okay, so I took the Gilbreth principle and I did something with it. And I will explain what I'm going to do right now so that you can see what's going on. Let's go 10, 3, 8, 5, 6. Doesn't have to be these cards. 10, 3, 8, 5, 6. 10, 3, 8, 5, 6, and 10, 3, 8, 5, 6. This series follows each other. It could be 1, 2, 9, 1, 2, 9, 4, 6. I don't care what the numbers are. But 10, 9, 8, 3, 6, 10, 9, 8, 10, 3, 8, 5, 6, 10, 3, 8, 5, 6, and so forth. When I come out, I do a false shuffle and I give the person the deck, and I ask them to deal down 20 cards, which they do. Now, it's not going to be 10, 3, 8. It's going to be backwards, but it's 6, 5, 8, 3, 10, 6, 5, 8, 3, 10. It's all going to be repeated. Now, I tell the person to go ahead and pick up the packet and start dealing them onto the table. Now, I don't want to say to them, start dealing and stop when you want. You have people like that, but it still works, but it doesn't look right. So I said, start dealing them on top of each other. And by the way, you can stop whenever you want. Just say stop, Steve. Stop. Here or here?
There.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. Then I asked them, can you shuffle the cards like this? In other words, can you shuffle the cards like this? And they do. It doesn't matter how the shuffle's made. You can have a block of 5 cards. Because what happens in the Gilbreth principle, you're reversing this packet. And this hasn't been reversed. So when you shuffle them and deal down 4 packets of 5 cards, this is what you get. 6, 5, 10, 8, 3. 3, 8, 10, 5, 6. Each packet's going to have the same cards regardless how you shuffle them. So when I say to them, pick up any one you'd like, and they do, and they spread them, and I say, would you add them up for me? So 11, 21, 5 is 26, 32. I say, isn't that interesting? So I'm going to go back. I'm just showing you why this works. You got it? I had already taken the clip trick, and I put the deck away, and we were talking. And now I'm going through my pockets like, oh my God, I'm old. And I start putting this stuff on the table. I had a deck where, oh, here it is. Okay. Sometimes when I do this with a large group of magicians, I say, check, misplaced my deck. Can I borrow someone's deck? And someone will come forward with it. Now, right as they come off their seats, oh, it's over here. Don't get old. You start forgetting things. But in their mind, they're going to say later, it could be done with anybody's deck. Okay. So those are there. We did the process, which I explained. And I always say to them, what's the total? They say 32. Isn't that interesting? Well, the same response you're giving me is what the average person gives me. What's interesting about it is that's the exact amount of change that's been sitting in front of you before we start. And that's the other trick. But I'm gonna give you guys a little thing that I really didn't share with many people. I come out with a bunch of coins. Come out with a bunch of coins, maybe 6 or 7. And I drop them on the table. And I say to someone, what's the date of this penny, please? And they say, oh, 1976S. What about this nickel? 1953. What about this coin, this coin, this coin, this coin? I said, I'm going to make a prediction. And I write a prediction and I hand it to someone to put in their pocket. And I say, you're going to pick up all the coins and you're going to shake them in your hand and drop them on the table. And all the tails you'll put to the side over here. So they do that, and they do this, and they drop them around, all the tail bump. And eventually, there's one coin left. I said, I don't want to touch it. Would you tell me what the date of this last coin? It's a penny. What is the date of this coin? They say 1976S. I said, would you read the prediction? The prediction says the last coin remaining will be a penny dated 1976S, even though all these dates were all different. Mm-hmm. And I go like, so it's a great trick. Wow. Using, of course, a double-headed penny. Yeah. But it can be sold, and it's a great little effect. And as they read it, I put the coins over here, they applaud, so forth and so on.
Wow, that's great.
How about a card? Would you guys be interested in a card trick, I say to them? And now I do the one I just explained to you. Mm. And they add up the figure. Isn't that interesting? Mm. That's the same amount of coins that's sitting in front of you from the previous trick.
Wow, that's great.
So I link this as a prediction, and this one as the trick that we just did. It just turns out that the amount now is exactly these coins. Okay?
Smart.
So just get a double-headed penny with the same date.
Now, if somebody's asking, do you have a favorite? This is Evan Schuster's asking. Is there a favorite false shuffle that you would use at the beginning of this?
There is. I do like doing a push through here. This here is a complete false shuffle. A lot of people do this, and they're here, and then they strip these out complete, right?
Yes.
But Vernon didn't do that. Vernon taught me something. He taught me 2 things, in particular with this. The packet you remove that you're going to shuffle should be 1/3 of the deck, not half. And when I shuffle this, I'm going to leave half of them on the table and then shuffle off. Because it goes through like butter. There's no friction. Right now, those are the cards that were on the bottom. There's only 7 cards here that went through. Mm. You follow that?
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm in this position. I'm going to leave that open. I raise up on this end here, take the break over with my other thumb, reach underneath and line them up with this packet like it's done.
Now, if you don't mind redoing that, the camera.
I'm going to.
Okay, sorry.
And then you complete the cut also. So I'll do it like so. Here goes the small packet. I hold a break at the end of this because right now those are the cards on the table. I lift up with my right thumb, transfer to my left thumb, reach underneath, and I want it to be on this packet, not over here. I want it to be here. And then it's here and a complete cut. And it's completely false.
That's awesome.
Okay. But the point that Vernon about small packet is it goes through so easy.
Man.
Charlie Miller did a little thing that was interesting that I'm sure some of the fellows will like. When he started to go through, he went forward just a little to cover that movement. And when he did this, he came backwards.
Gosh, that looks so good.
But Charlie really didn't do a push through. He did a pull out. He did a strip out. He didn't do push throughs. When Charlie shuffled the cards, he would put his thumbs behind the packets. Because if you start pushing without the thumbs, they'll start going at an angle. Okay? So he put them here and he let them watch them go together. And at this point, he'd take over here. And now he's just stripping out and just doing a false cut. So he does a pull out and strip out from this end, not. But again, I'll do this again. There's half the deck, half the cards in that right-hand packet. Shuffle. Come in here. Do your push through. There it is. Pick up the right end. That's the end that's like a hole here. The right end, take it over with your left. If you don't take it over, you got to take these and put them over here. It looks strange. So you transfer to your left thumb and now pull these out and line them up with that packet, square like you're finished, and then complete the cut. That was his.
That's awesome. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you asked that, Aiden.
I'd like to share a quick Larry Jennings story and then go into some jog work for you. Larry was a great guy. Unfortunately, he was a terrible drinker. And he, with diabetes and so forth, he really didn't hold his liquor. This took place at the Vernon table. There was Michael Skinner, myself, Charlie Miller, Ray Grismer, Larry Jennings, and the professor. We're just sitting at the table talking. Behind the settee where Vernon would sit, and he always sat at the one that was facing the exit door of the close-up room because he was right-handed. He used the windowsill to put his Johnny Walker Red and the ashtray for a cigar. So by sitting here, he would just put it like so. And he did a crazy thing. All the years that I knew him, he would take the cellophane off the cigar and put it in the ashtray. And he'd light up his cigar, and without looking, threw the match into the ashtray and started a fire. Every single time. It was so funny to watch it. I mean, he just light it up, put it there, starts fighting, doesn't even look at it. His cellophane on fire. Okay, so we're sitting there, and behind the professor were three women waiting in line to go to the close-up room. Okay? And they were lady friends of the professor. And the professor said, how are? He called me how are. I'll get back to that later. It's a very emotional thing for me. He called me how are because for the 22 years I knew him, he would say, how are you? That was his thing. How are you? He always thought that was cute. And nobody else could use that. Nobody else did. He said, would you mind doing something for my lady friend? I said, sure. Select a card, select a card. I said, what was the name of your card? She says, the four of spades. And I reached in my pocket, pulled it out. I came over to her and I said, what was yours? And she said, I said, don't take your eyes off the deck. She says, no. And here's her card and the deck is gone. Okay? Great trick. I enjoy it. It's a wonderful effect. They loved it. The professor thanked me. I sat down, and they have a mixed audience, so I'll keep it clean. Larry said, it's the worst effing thing I ever saw in my life. So you should have done a top cover pass. Well, Charlie Miller comes to my rescue, and he says, Larry, Howard's a friend of ours. You don't embarrass him like that in front of us. If you have something constructive to show him, but don't make him feel like that. I'll show him. And he gets up and he's 3 feet away from us with his back to us, doing the same effect I just did for those ladies. He wants to show me the correct. Now, the professor was the biggest troublemaker at the castle. I was number 2 and I resolved to stay that way. But professor was a big troublemaker. Jennings would come up to the professor and say, I got this new shift, professor. Let me show it to you. He said, go ahead, Larry. And he would do it, and Vernon would say, oh, Sir Von showed me that 2 weeks ago with 3 less moves. and when Bruce came up to him to show him some pass or something, Larry showed me that a month ago. In fact, he did it much better than you're doing. Then he pitted them together. It's just wonderful. Okay, so he's doing the thing, and then the professor chirps up and says, you must be embarrassed the way he just talked to you in front of all of us. He said, I feel bad for you. He said, by the way, he's using redback riders just like you. Maybe you can think of something. He made you think. I stood up 2 feet behind Larry Jennings. His back was to us. When Larry went to his pocket with the deck, I took my deck and I threw it between his legs. And there's cards all over the floor. He thinks he missed his pocket because he sees cards over here. And he goes walking over the cards and goes up the stairs. I come back to the table. Vernon's got a chuckle, and Charlie's laughing, Ray's laughing. And I start to sit down, and the professor looks at me and he says, I wouldn't sit down if I were you. He says, I'd go home right now because Larry's going to be really pissed when he finds the deck in his pocket. Yeah, those are great. Those are the wonderful things that happen. Job work. A lot of people use crimps. I don't, because it leaves the deck dirty. I do a lot of job work, and I will share some of the things that I do with it, including a piece that I came up for doing Triumph. You know, it took me years and years to think about this. There's only one animal in the entire universe that holds a 2-ounce deck with 2 hands. Magicians. Nobody else. If I told a 6-year-old to pick up the cards, they'd pick them up. Psychologically, I think the audience feels very comfortable in this position. But as soon as you're here, I can't prove it, but as soon as psychologically, there's something that's because you got to remember, if 500 people were to see you do this, and you're a magician, I think about 6 or 7% of them are going to think you just did something because you're a magician. If you do this and you're not a magician, everyone will say he just cut the cards.
Yeah.
Do this and not a magician, nothing. Do this, being a magician, he just did something.
Yeah.
They don't know what. And that takes away from the payback for the effect. In Triumph, a person selects a card, and in your own favorite manner, you have to control to the top by either a pass or one of these, Because you got to get the card to the top because you're going to go face up and face down. Correct?
Right.
Okay. So Steve, select a card. Okay. And I'm going to ask the audience about where in the deck is that card? Where do you think? Where can you see it?
I can.
About where?
Looks like about half.
So we know the card's in here somewhere, obviously. So I'm going to do face up and the face down. Oh, what was the card?
The
10 of spades.
10 of spades.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
I never moved the card.
Mm-hmm.
There was no shift.
Okay. That's good.
So the card is selected. It's put in the middle of the deck. I say, where's the card going? They say the middle. The move is done. I'm finished. I'm all finished with the move. And I haven't, it's still in the middle. But can you see it where it is in the middle? Can you see this out in this diagonal jog?
Yes, sir.
So when the cards are spread, it's the only card not straight.
Hmm.
Every card's straight except that diagonally put card.
Wow.
So to kill it, I say, so your card is here somewhere.
Hmm.
Now that doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Right.
Since I spread from left to right, I'm going to pick them up left to right. Watch my thumb as it hits that card and uses everything to put them over.
Wow.
And now we start.
Man, that's smart. I love that.
So you can do a lot of things with jogs. Now let's talk about triumph just for a second. I know, including myself, everyone has seen this. Magicians puts them in and whack, right? Strips them out, face up, face down, back to back.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Vernon never did that. Vernon never did that move. His finger was curved just a little, touching the white border of this one card. Its job was to push the card forward. That's all it was to do. And the job of this hand was to do this. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't even touch the end. If you put this motion together with this motion, watch what you get.
Hmm. Wow.
That's what Vernon did. He didn't do that whack. All I'm doing is moving this up. You see it? And I'm just doing this. And as I do it, this card is going forward, and it looks like that deck is going right into
Wow.
That's what Vernon did. And you've got a huge thing here to go face to pull it out. Okay? I'm sure many of you people in your audience here may be familiar with Vernon's twisting the aces.
Oh, yeah.
Vernon never did an Elmsley at the fingertips like this.
Hmm.
He always did a conventional Elmsley. But for twisting the aces, he did it here. You see a lot of the fellas doing okay, and now we twist, and now one card's face up, and now we twist, and one card's face up, two cards are face up.
Yeah.
You understand all that.
Yeah.
But Vernon never did that either.
Hmm.
He did the twist, but he didn't do it that way. He took his middle finger and thumb and reached over to the far end. And when he twisted, he didn't have to move his hands. That's the reason that he did it here, for that sole purpose of being able to twist and not make a movement.
Wow. Wow.
So I share that with you.
Thank you. That's great.
Jog work again. A person selects a card. It goes in the middle. I have no control of the card whatsoever, and I pick up the cards. I ask them the name. They say the three. It's finished. How does this work? Again, I love jog work. This is Larry Jennings' all-around square up thing that I do with it. So I'll try to explain how you do this. This card is going to be moved into this position here. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the time, just before that, this thumb is going to come down here. Because you don't want to do this. That you don't want to do. You want to make it the thumb comes down, this comes up, and you square. When you square, it puts the card over here. I turn here to re-square the deck. It now puts it back here. So all you're seeing is the 4 of clubs goes in the deck, cards are squared, I go like so, I put the cards down, I talk, I pick them up. I don't even look at it, I give them a cut, and I got the 4 of clubs at the bottom, and that's it.
Wow.
Okay? So because of this is what I do. I'll attempt to do this. Normally I don't do it like this, but I'll show you what you do. That 4 of spades is going in the middle, and I'm making that move. That's the card. You can't even see it from there. Steve can. But it's jogged out. It's that card at the end of the deck. So when I do this, and do this, and do this, and talk, how much fairer can it be?
Yeah.
When I pick them up, I just straighten them. I just straighten the front of the deck. And we cut to the card. So watch this. I'll do it a different way. I'll say, maybe I was able to pass the card. You see the card here on top, whatever was the queen. They say, oh. Well, it's not on the top, and I have no control with that. What about the bottom? No. So it's not the bottom, not the top, and I have no control. Maybe the middle. You say, no. What was the card? Queen? Done.
That's great.
Because that jog will stay within itself all the time. It doesn't move. I could literally take the card like so, do this move, make a fan, put the cards on the table, pick them up, cut, have the card.
Wow.
So jog work is very, very interesting, and it's, I think, very strong, much stronger than using a grip, because now that my deck is still clean. Okay.
I wouldn't mind, I don't know, Steve, if there's any way we can arrange for that camera to be angled a little more closely, because I can see, I think that first jog of the card initially, most of us, I think, know how to do that, but it's that second one, moving it from a side jog to an in jog.
You mean move the camera closer to me?
Yeah, can we try that? So the fellas can get
it. I had such a good view of that, Rudy.
Yeah, I know you did. It's just incredible that the jog stays there with all of that seemingly casual crossing out of the pack. Okay, I can move this. Which camera do you want me to put up? Okay, let me move that bad boy over here. Hold on. Present to everyone. Let's try that angle.
Want to try it?
Let's give it a try. Let's see if that works. Now, I think the difficulty, I think the sunlight is making your, can you go to his right side, Steve?
Yeah.
Thank you, fellas, for your patience. We're, like I said, we're doing the best we can here.
You move your T over this here, just so I can get some stabilization.
There you go. I'm hoping
Okay, I'm looking at the big monitor for this, Rudy.
Okay. That's great. I just, there we go.
So the card goes here.
Okay.
And as I pull the thumb down, this goes on an angle. I'll do it slow. Can you see that?
Hold on.
See the angle?
Yeah.
And then I do this, squaring it up.
Okay. So now is it side jog to the right?
Now it's here.
See, tilt it down a little bit. Tilt the deck down. There we go. Okay. From there, I gotcha.
So now I go over here to re-square the deck again. And now it's back here.
Oh, so side jog to your in jog to your left.
It's out jogged. Yeah, it's out jogged in the back corner and out jogged at the back now.
Gotcha.
Now I turn the deck over. I just turn it over like so and relax.
Okay.
Because I can even put the cards down. A little thing that I do is I'll do this and bring this back, which blocks out anybody from seeing the jog.
Right.
And so when I pick them up and I square them up again, there's the jog. And the 3 is now on the bottom, or the king, whatever the card was. So I'll do it again. I don't know if it's confusing me, but I'll do it again.
No, it's not confusing. I think it's just unfortunately the camera, the iPhone is not. It's a little bit jerky, but you know.
Okay, so here's the card.
Gotcha.
I pull this down. This goes here.
Gotcha.
I do this to square up the cards.
Gotcha.
I turn the deck, and that is where you see it. There it is, right here.
Gotcha. Now from there, this is the critical part for me, so I can get it to that position. But now,
Okay.
how do you get it in jogged? You know, at that short end of the.
Let me show you what you do. You grab the deck at the top ends as you turn it clockwise.
Okay.
And now as I square, watch what happens to that card. It's back here.
All right.
Here it is. So the move, Rudy, is here, here. I can actually turn the deck over in my hand, but yet I have the jog.
Right. Wow. Man, that's great. Oh,
You know, you can take it a step further if you want. 2 people select cards, okay?
Okay.
Here's the 8 of spades. Here's the second person, the 5 of clubs. Remember that move we did for Triumph?
Yes.
Down here? I said, you know, I need 2 cards. It just looks like I put their card in the deck. I need 2 cards. But I'm into this move that I did for before.
Mm-hmm.
And so now as I go through the cards, I say, I need 2 cards. Look at the card I'm going to take. Can you see it? This one.
I think you guys got muted. Steve, can you hear me? We'll take a quick second. Howard, your camera got muted somewhere along the way. Sorry, fellas. Give me just one quick second. Can you hear me, Steve? Hold on, he's gonna fix it, fellas. Hold on. Can you fix it? He's gonna take 1 second, grab. Hold on. All right. All right, fellas. Well, we're going to take a quick time out while he gets his things taken care of. Just really quickly, Howard was kind enough to ask a few of his friends if they might be willing to do a lecture for us. The next lecture that we're going to be having is going to be Alan Ackerman, which will be, I believe, the first weekend in October. So we're still working out the details. But if you, if you know anybody who would be willing to do a lecture for us, man, I sure would appreciate it. It's been increasingly difficult to find lecturers. I think I contact people and think, who the hell am I? And so again, somebody like Howard Hamburg vouching for what it is that we're doing is really cool. So keep an eye out for Alan Ackerman and his lecture. That'll be first weekend of October. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'll make sure that I ask him. There's a couple of stories that you guys were asking that he would share. One, Di Vernon performing Magic in the Rain. I don't know what that's about, but I'd love to hear that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. The reason I stopped is because we lost sound.
And Rudy, I am going to reconnect with the iPhone cameras.
That's quite all right. Don't worry about it.
You mentioned a false cut, Rudy.
Yeah, you were. You know, when you were when you and I were having our little practice thing for here for this lecture. You had shown a couple of false cuts that I thought were just incredibly.
That's one right there. That's a false cut right there.
Let me present you to everyone here really quickly. Hold on one second. All right. Now you are main presenter. Hold on one second. Let me just double check. There we go. Now, Steve, we might have to adjust here because whatever camera is in front of us right now, it looks a little iffy. Let me see. Can you wave your hand real quick, Howard? Let's see if it's okay, that's not so bad. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and show us what you got?
This is my false cut right here. And so I'm going to explain it. When you cut cards, everybody basically, and I've watched people cut cards, dealers, magicians, everybody. There's one thing in common. This finger, it's here. Lefty, it's here. Can you see that?
You can see that.
Okay. A real cut, this is what happens. However, there's a space here. You don't cut like this, you cut like that. So how can I do the same thing but make it false? I'll do it in slow motion. And grab my finger onto the top of it.
Don't worry, fellas. I'm going to get that fixed. We'll have him do it one more time. You're breaking up really quickly. That could be, I think Steve just got online, so it's probably soaking up some of your bandwidth. We'll try it again.
Ready?
So, you're back on. Try that again, Howard.
Okay, I'm going to do it with the card face up. As I slip cut the bottom, take the bottom portion forward, this is on it, and then I complete the cut. In other words, a regular cut would look like this,
right?
And be completed. So if I can hop the bottom portion to make it look like this space and retain this finger as I do this, watch how it goes on top. This is what you get out of it. The same exact thing as a real cut.
Can you do it with the card face down so that fellas can see how deceptive it looks? Because it fooled the hell out of me when I saw it the first time.
This is it. That's it.
Awesome.
This is the false cut. That's it.
Wow. Wow.
Now, I played around with a false cut that I used years ago because I see a lot of fellas doing these things for cutting. And listen, I don't object to anybody doing whatever they want. But when I see someone doing these fancy things, audiences aren't used to that. They're used to a cut like this, or they're used to maybe a cut like this. That's what they're used to. So I take half the cards from the bottom, bring them up to the top, and hold the break with my left thumb, and bring it back with my right. Now, I'll do this openly so you'll see it. Then I take half the cards on top to the back, drop all the cards off that are below the break, and complete the cut. This is what it looks like. It looks like a normal cutting procedure, but nothing happens. It's here, here, and there.
Wow. Can you do the slowly breaking it down really quick? My camera froze a little bit. One more time. Sorry.
Okay.
There we go.
So the bottom half comes up here.
Gotcha.
And comes up here, and I take over the break with my left thumb and then change it to my right.
Gotcha.
Got it?
Yep.
Then I take half of these cards on top, bring them back here.
I see.
Drop everything below the break on it, and complete the cut. So this is what it looks like. I'm trying to do this sideways here. It comes here. I take half these here. It comes back.
I gotcha. That's great.
Okay. Now Vernon had a triple cut, which was great. This was the professor's, And that's a complete false cut.
That looks awesome.
Great. So how is this done? Not difficult at all. And by the way, if any of the fellows have any questions, we'll leave my email address. They can email me, call me, whatever. I'll be more than happy to go over anything.
Thanks so much, Howard.
Okay, Vernon would undercut half of the deck and place it on top here. But the thumb and the third finger, where these meet, right here.
Yeah.
He hold it. Now he would take half of these cards, and there's you can feel them bind here because my fingers are there. So he would just come sort of around it like this, and as he came back and dropped this was going forward, and he make sure he picked it up with the right hand. I see a lot of guys doing cuts like this. You don't cut like that. You cut with the same hand. You complete with the same hand. So it's here. As this comes back, I'm going forward at the same time.
Wow.
And then I come back here to complete. This is a complete 52 card Vernon false cut. And it's so hard to follow. Yeah. It really is. Even with the card face up, this is mine. This was dies. The only thing I added to dies is this. When I come here and I come back, as I gather, I put it like this, so that when it comes on here, would you mind squaring them up?
That's great.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, but that triple false cut of his is great. Again, bottom half comes here, and you just grab it where they meet. This half, any part of this half, comes back, and as it comes back, you're going forward with this.
Wow, that's great.
And when you do go now, I know you're going to say, well, wait a minute, how do you get them out? Because it's trapped here. I move this for the right angle. And I pick these up. And there's, oh my, would you mind?
That's great. Wow, that's good.
Again, God, if we had a camera here right behind this.
There was another cut that you showed me. I don't know if you wanted to share it. I won't even. There was another Charlie Miller false cut that you showed me.
Yeah, I will show one.
Do you know which one I'm talking about? The one where your left.
I don't show a particular one. I will show this one.
Okay.
Charlie was wonderful. He was a great thinker. You know, a lot of people don't realize it. Over 50% of expert card technique is Charlie Miller's material.
I had no idea.
Yes, over 50% of expert card technique is Charlie Miller. And what happened was, Browie asked Charlie, can you get Vernon to contribute a couple things? And Dye did. But Browie never gave Dye credit. He gave Charlie the credit. That ended it.
Oh.
Okay. This is the thing that Charlie did. Here's the group of cards you want to maintain on the bottom. And Charlie would cut the deck and complete the cut. And those aces would still be here. I will do it and then show you what's going on. So this came here. This came here to go ahead and pick up. And that was it. And there's your 4 aces.
Man, I just think that's so freaking.
Well, how is this done? I'll do it maybe at this end. When these cards came back, you want to get them right to the fingertips, because you don't want this hand to be moving. As Charlie completed the cut, I'll do it in slow motion. You don't cut exactly the 4 aces. You just a group of cards that include the 4 aces. There it is. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm going to do this open. As this comes back, my right hand does this.
I think that's so smart.
Not my right hand, but it's Charlie's right hand. So he came here, he completed the cut, and he's got his cards in.
That's the one that I thought was so smart. So that's actually, you did the one that I was hoping you would share, because I think that's pretty brilliant. Now you do need a pad, right, to do that, Howard? That's
it's difficult to do this stuff on a bar or anything. I mean, you need some sort of
some kind of cushiony.
yeah, I mean, a lot of guys can adapt any of these things for stroll around. Also, they just have to think it out a little, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
You know, the professor had one of his sayings was, if you ever want to keep anything a secret in magic, put it in print.
Right.
Those guys didn't have DVDs and internet. They just had their head to think with, you know. And another thing he used to say too is, this is really great, many magicians stop thinking too early.
Mm.
If I was to give any one piece of advice over all these years to fellow magicians, this is what it would be. Stop thinking like a magician and start thinking like a spectator.
Mm.
You'll be much better.
Mm-hmm.
When you start thinking, I've never had a trick where I've done something and the spectator says, nice diagonal shift. Doesn't happen. But we want to do these things. We want to do this. The story I can relate happened with the professor. Professor and I were watching a fellow who won FISM back in the 70s. And he has two women at the table holding an imaginary line, like a rope. And he, first of all, when he comes out, he's got his jacket off and his sleeves rolled up. That's how he's introduced. I turn to the professor and I say, we're going to have a coin trick. Card guy doesn't come out with his jacket with the sleeves rolled up, but a coin guy does. So, on many instances. So, sure enough, he's going to, has these $4 silver. He picks one up. He says, I'm going to place it on the rope. And his hands are empty. He does all four. And then, blah, blah, blah. So afterwards, Professor and I were sitting outside, and he comes up and he says to the professor, how did you like that effect with the coins? And he said, well, ask my friend Howard. You see, the professor never liked politically correct. He would say, ask Larry, ask Bruce, ask Michael, ask Howard, ask Charlie. And I said to the fella, really want me an honest opinion? He said, yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm sitting with Vernon. He doesn't know who I am. I said, it was wonderful. It was one of the best pieces I've ever seen. Well, his chest came out like this, and he's in front of the professor. I said, until you screwed it up. He said, you saw me go out with the coins? I said, no, I know what you were doing, and you did it very well. He said, well, where did I screw it up? I said, when you brought them back. You only convinced the audience they were hidden well. You know, I really, you go up to an 8-year-old and you show them a coin and you put it in their ear and it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. You take a coin and you take a coin from the child's ear, and he'll remember that, talk about it. But next time you do this coin, and that's it. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about you for the next 3-4 years. Right. And he'll embellish it. It was a quarter, it was a half, it was a silver dollar, it was the size of a garbage can. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's, we try to overprove a lot of things.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So anyhow, I must relate, if you have, I hope I have enough time for this, but one of Max Maven's favorite stories. In the old days, the castle on Friday, after lunch, they closed the castle to clean it. But there were a few of us that were allowed to stay in even though the doors were locked. It was Professor, myself, Larry Jennings, Ray Grismer, Max Maven. And this is one of Max's favorite stories. So if you ever run across him, he'll mention that the cards I use for the example are wrong, but Max can tell you what Bellini had for breakfast, you know. And he's a tremendous mind. Max got a tremendous mind. So we're just standing there talking, and Bill Larson at the time would say, guys, go ahead behind the bar, pour your own drinks. It's on the house. And so we used to get sloshed on Friday afternoon. And the professor was sitting at the last stool at the main bar. And a bunch of us were about 15 feet away from him. We were talking. All of a sudden we heard, I never miss. We don't pay attention to him. And finally he said, I never miss. And out of respect, I say, what do you mean, Professor? He said, go ahead, select a card. I showed it around and went back into the deck. He says, give me a number between, remember he had a few drinks. Give me a number between 10 and 25. I said, 12. And he's going, what? What? He's running the scale over here. And he takes a cut. 10, 11, what was your card? 3 of spades. Never miss. Never miss. Great trick. I said to the professor, if you miss, will you go out to dinner with Ray and I tonight? Now that's a no-win bet for me. But I wanted to go to dinner. So I selected a card. Everybody saw the card. Everybody. They saw the 5 of hearts. Went back in the deck. There was a little shift going on. Give me a number. Make it difficult. I said, okay, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What was your card? It was the 5 of hearts. But I want to go to dinner. I said, the 9 of hearts. And he turned over that effing 9 of hearts. He missed the trick on the miscalled card.
Are you kidding me?
A pin drop in that room. Our mouths are open. He missed the damn trick, but he missed it on the miscalled card. And he gets up and walks up the stairs and says, I never miss, never miss. And he just
oh my gosh. That's
it's a true story. I mean, I can't make these things up. I'm going to show you guys some, you know, every so often, I'll be sitting at my table and I'll say, you know, maybe I'll work on something different. And I started doing 4-for-4 card switches. I've come up with 4 of them. I'll share a couple with you. If you can see this. What's on the table? Can you read off the cards, Steve? The 9 of spades. What else?
3 of clubs, 5 of clubs, 6 of diamonds.
9, 3, 5, 6. Is it 9, 3, 5, 6 this way or 9, 3, 5, 6 the other way?
I think it's reversed.
This way?
mm-hmm. Awesome. Wow. That looks so good.
So let's discuss this. When the cards are in this position, and I'm going to do a 4-for-4 switch, all focus on actually telling the audience, watch me here, because that's where I'm coming. So I have to divert that moment. And I divert it with the 3rd card from the top. I'll show you what I do. First of all, I have a break on 4 aces, but I got to convert it to a thumb break like this. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I can't just do this. Looks awkward. So I hold it as a regular break. And I say, what's on the table? The 8 of spades, 7 of diamonds, and what else? As they're doing it, I got my break. I mean, they're all telling me information. I could have put a pizza down here and they wouldn't know the difference. This is the important card, the 3rd one from the top. I don't want to just do this. it looks contrived. Why is he doing that? That doesn't make sense. As I come up with this big break here to the corner of that 8, as I get past the 7, I sort of brush this card to the side. It's like an accident. And I come here and pick it up here. You see the cards that were on the table. And the 4-for-4 switch is done.
That's just great, Howard.
So again, I'll go over it with you. It's one of my favorites. I have a big break. I have a thumb break now. Let's see it. And as soon as I come up here, the King of Spades is my important card. So as I come up here, right about here, this goes, this is picked up, and I scoop this up. You're looking at the cards that were on the table for that moment. I mean, how clean can it be? What's nice about it also is not only you made the change, but the deck is clean.
That's great.
There are a lot of switches in which you have to clean up cards. I don't like that.
I love that, Howard. Can you just do it one last time? Because I switched the camera to a different angle like an idiot. So
that's all right. Don't worry about it. I'm here all day. So I got my break, and I'm asking, oh, by the way, what's on the table? The King of Hearts, Jack of Spades, and then they pick up 5 of Spades and 4. I've got my break.
Gotcha.
As I come up to hit that corner with that big open thumb break, I get right to the Jack, and as I approach, this is an accident. I don't do this. It's just here.
Yeah.
You can't see 2 things at the same time. This moment takes away from them. I scoop up and pick up this card last, and they're looking at the cards that were on the table.
Gosh, that's so nice.
And you're clean. Now, Barry Price had a thing. I forgot what he called it, but I found out later it was actually Quinzel's. Okay. And I have some work on this. I'll put those in an order that you can remember them, not the, maybe the numbers, not the suit. Okay, so what do we have here? We have 10, 7, 3, 2, right? The switch is made. The deck is clean.
Wow. Gosh, that's nice. What the heck?
Okay, so these 4 cards are under the top card.
Face up or just?
Together. All 4 aces are face up under the top face down card. I don't even hold a break. I said, go ahead and remove 4 cards. Boom, 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 boom. Now, because it's natural, there's a natural break here.
Right.
And a card removes it. I'm holding a break with my finger. Now, the object is not to pull this card back. That's the problem. What you do is you just reach underneath with your fingers and push that way. Since it's a block, the whole block comes out.
Wow.
You don't have to do anything. This block has come out because they're reversed.
Wow.
So when I'm here, I'm just there. That's it. So how do I do it? I'll try to do this openly so you can see it. And even openly, it'll fool you. As I approach, I just made my move. Watch how nice this is as I turn them over. I mean, it's right in front of your face.
Dang. You know what? And fellas, you should try that with the deck. I just did that, and the block really does just slide out as one block.
A lot of guys who've been trying this, they try to pull this back, and it's not necessary. If I go under here and I just go boom this way, there's my thing. So again, I'll do it open this time. So I haven't moved it out yet. I come here and it's moved out. There it is.
Man.
And I pinch this, and look, even knowing all that.
Oh, that's great.
And you're clean.
Man, I love that, Howard. That's great. Yeah, you know, and I don't even know. I was just thinking, you only need really. I mean, you say you reach your fingers in, but you really just can do it with your pinky, swiveling that back.
Well, with the pinky, it might put it on an angle.
Ah, I see what you mean.
So that's why I do this. That's why when I'm here, I just do this right in the middle, so it comes out. If you do it with the pinky, it could come out on an angle.
Yeah, that's true. I'm feeling that.
So I don't even do anything. I just come here, it's done. But look, I'll do it slow. Look, you don't see anything. It's one of the best 4-for-4 switches you can find.
I love that. And that's yours, Howard? That's you? You came up with that?
Well, it's just some little work at Krenzel is the one that
came
up with it. Barry was a good friend of mine. He started doing stuff with it. And I just try to find a little points of how to get the block out more differently. And I mean, you can actually do this on the fly. Again, it's an overproof, but you don't have to. I actually could just come here like this and just turn it. And do them on the fly.
I like that. Thanks, Howard. That's awesome.
Let's try a little thing here that I would like to share with you guys. I'll give it a shot. You know, the big problem with card magic, there's an inherent problem with it. Magicians shuffle the cards. They spread them out. Someone selects one. Then it goes back into the deck. And many magicians happen to talk too much. They talk and talk and talk, thinking that that's important. And then they turn to the spectator 8 minutes later, the poor spectator, and say, what was the name of your card? It happened to you 1,000 times. I forgot. I have short-term memory. So I use 4 cards that are easy for me to remember. And I don't have any secret to what those 4 cards are. I'll show them to you. They happen to be the 4 aces. And why do I use these particular cards? If you had me select a card and it was an ace, and you talked and talked and talked and asked me 10 minutes later the name of the card, I'd remember it.
Yeah.
All of us would remember an ace. It's a very easy card to remember. But let's say, for example, I selected the 5 of diamonds. And you asked me 10 minutes later the name of the card. I said, it was the 9. No. It was the 2. Hey, Fred, what was the name of my card?
Yeah.
I'll do this slowly. I want you to notice the aces are face up. The deck itself is face down. Aces face up, deck face down. And all I'm going to do is change the order. Spades, hearts, clubs, and the diamonds. Aces face up, deck face down. And one at a time, the aces are going to turn over in sympathy with that deck. One at a time, very slowly. I could do this, and we're finished. But magically. So first ace, the ace of spades. And I'll do it slowly. Second ace is the ace of hearts. Third ace, the ace of clubs. The last ace, the ace of diamonds. The most difficult ace of all. And now you've seen the ace of hearts, ace of spades, ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. I haven't left this spot. Yet, if I begin the process again, it repeats. You're magicians. You realize I must use more than 4 cards. But I don't. I use 1. 2,
oh, man. That's good. Surprise.
The 4, the 3, the 2, and the ace. And that's all there is to it.
Awesome. Bravo. That's good.
By the way, a lot of the stuff that I'm going over is in my D notes, which is 40 pages. I'll talk about it later. This one, I start with the professor really liked this effect. He says he's never seen anybody do a trick with 2 missed calls in a row. And this one was one of them. because I never had the ace of hearts and ace of spades. It was never in play. So the 2, the 3, and the 4 are at the top of the deck. The aces are in the deck somewhere. They talk too much, blah, blah, blah. I have short-term memory. And I removed the 4 ace. I said, I use 4 cards that are easy for me to remember. And I take out the 4 aces. There they are. Okay. Now, I want it to be spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds for a reason. I'll show you why. And I say, look, if you had me select a card and it was an ace, and 10 minutes later ask me the name of the card, I remember an ace, so would you. And then I give the other example, the 5 of diamonds. I pick these up, and I say, I want you to notice the aces are face up. Pause. The deck is face down. There's my 2, 3, and 4. And I put them together. Aces face up, deck face down. I got to get a break here. Now, there is a move, Atlas type move, where you can put the one card hiding the other. I don't. I pick up a block. I pick up a block. Why? I say, so I'm going to reverse their order. Spades, hearts, drop the block, ace of clubs, and ace of diamonds. Aces face up, deck face down. Doesn't that look pretty? But those aces are way back here. But this looks nice. If you do it under one card, you just have to move one card. I don't like that. I like this. So now I say the first ace will be the ace of spades. And I'm going to go into a thing called the Visa concept, which I want to teach you guys. I kick this card over like so. I take this card, I take the double, and I say the first one's the ace of hearts. Or ace of spades. Next one's the ace of hearts. There's 2 missed calls in a row. They're sitting over here. Next one's the ace of clubs. I take the top, bottom, hold the double, put it underneath the bottom into the corner. I say the last one, the ace of diamonds, and I kick this card over again. And now I reverse what they originally saw because I wanted to have it ace of clubs last. If I say spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds, I don't like that. So now you've seen the ace of hearts, ace of spades, ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. That's not how we started, but it's the same 4 cards. And if I repeat the process, I'm holding a double here. Magicians think I use more than 4 cards. No, I use 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. But it is in one of the.
Thanks, Howard. I like that. Just a couple of things. Somebody's asking. There's a couple of stories, Howard, that people are asking about. One of them is about diving and doing a trick out in the rain. What is that about?
Okay. So for 22 years, Di lived down the driveway. It was a steep driveway down the drive of the Magic Castle. It was a light. You cross the street, and you walk down about maybe 150 yards, and it was the Biltmore Apartments. He lived there. Joe Cassari also lived there. He was a good friend of his from Philadelphia. And Ray and I and the professor would go over there and play cards at night, maybe till 3, 4 in the morning. And Kuda Bucks would join us and play hearts. And Vernon used to tease him. He says, how come you have to put glasses on to play hearts? I mean, Kuda Bucks was the man with the X-ray vision. What does he need glasses on? It was very, very fun. We had a lot of fun. So this one night it had rained at the castle. Now, I'm not making these stories up. It rained at the castle, and the rain had stopped. And the professor and I were waiting for Ray. We were outside to walk over to his apartment. And Ray was in the men's room. So the professor had me select a card. As soon as I selected the card, Ray walked out, and I showed Ray the card. It went back to the deck and so forth and so on. And he said, give me a number between 1 and 20. No, give me a number between 5 and 20. And I said, 12. That's exactly what I said. I remember the number. He said, as we start walking down the steep driveway, Ray's on one side, I'm on the other. He's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On 7, he slips. His left leg goes out from under him. And he falls on his back, 84 years old. And I'm yelling to the valet parking attendants, help, we need help over here, please. And dies on his back, and he looks up, and he says, damn it, just pick me up, just pick me up. And I said, Di, you could have a broken bone in your back. I don't want to do it. God damn, just pick me up. So I looked at Ray, Ray looked at me, Ray grabbed his left arm, I grabbed his right. In the fall, Ray was able to hold on to his left arm, but I missed his right, so that's when he fell bad. So Ray picked up his left, I picked up his right, and I wouldn't look. I'm like this. I'm like this. I'm afraid I'm going to see something. And he gets up, he brushes himself off. He says, the light's green, let's go. I swear to you, he takes one step forward. This is what we hear. 8, 9. He was going to finish the dance. No, he fell on 7 and continued on 8.
That's brilliant.
I'm going to try this. This is something that I've been using. I'm fairly happy with. I can do it this way. Yeah. Go ahead and touch a card for me. Just touch one. Which one? Okay. And remember it. Got it? Yes. Okay. And they can cut and do whatever they want. I have a key card with it already. I have a key card with his card already. No crimps, no nothing. Remember I told you I don't like crimps. I'm going to expose this. You touch a card. I use my third finger because it puts the card out further from the deck.
Oh, Rudy, how about that straight on shot?
Okay.
Going to be okay. Yeah. I use my third finger because it puts it out further, and I point to the card, but I have a bubble peak behind it. See the bubble peak? You know what a bubble peak is?
Mm-hmm.
That's the bubble peak.
Wow.
Right there. So they select a card, and I point my finger towards the card, just like that. Now I got a bubble peak. I'm looking at the 2 of hearts. What's this card?
8 of spades.
And I say, would you mind cutting the deck and completing the cut? Kind of easy from the previous one. And complete the cut. Then I ask somebody else to cut. Why don't you cut a miss? They cut. They're doing me a favor. They're putting it back where it started.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 2 people cutting. Excuse me. Go here. I said, look, let me just give them a little shuffle. And now I do a ferrule. And they do a cut. They had a free choice of a card they touched. They cut it twice, and I shuffled and cut again. If I look for the 2 of hearts, here, oh, that's funny. Towards the top. I look for the 2 of hearts. It's a ferrule, right? Which means it's going to be 2 cards to the left of my key card. Indeed it is. It's 2 cards to the left of it. Need spades, right? So they touch a card. They pick it up here. Nice.
Okay.
Okay. I go like this. I said, please remember it. And I'm looking at the 6 of diamonds right now in my hand. They cut. Someone else cuts. I pick up the cards. I say, let's give them a mix. It doesn't have to be 26 or 26. I'm not going to do a ferrule. Right, Nico? And then I look for the 6 of diamonds or whatever it was. And 2 cards to the left is going to be their card, the 3.
Wow, that's awesome.
Okay. So it's a good little. It's utilizing a gambling room in the context of a card trick. I also do this. I shuffle the cards and pick them up, and the bottom card's a 9 of spades. So, we know about a bubble peak, are we correct? We know about this?
Right.
The guys can look it up, right? I reverse it. You know, can you see that? Okay.
Right.
I looked up and just show a little bit there what you got.
See, all I'm doing is pressing this corner in, and it brings the 9 here, and I can see the 9 right here. It's just the reverse of this. This is the bubble peak, and this is a reverse bubble peak. And I'm looking right at the 9 of spades right here at the bottom because I just pushed this corner.
You're using this part of a lot of your ring finger to get that.
Yeah, I use this finger to push it. The other one I don't. The other one, again, I use the third finger because I want coverage. And when I do this, I'm just pushing this over.
Sure.
You can't see anything from there, but I do. I can drive a truck through there.
Really quick, Steve. Sorry, I'm eating a burrito. We're getting a little bit of feedback, and I'm not sure which microphone that's coming from. I muted your iPhone, but I'm not quite sure what the feedback is. It's kind of very intermittent, but it starts kind of creeping in.
Unmute the iPhone, and I'm going to mute the laptop.
All right, let me. Okay, I muted the iPhone. You'll have to unmute the laptop, and hopefully that'll work. I'm going to present this to everyone, and now you should be able to unmute that on the laptop if you could. You're able to do that, Steve? I'm not sure. Sorry, Phyllis. Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Can you unmute the laptop? I know you just unmuted the phone. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties, guys, and for your patience. We're, just so you know, Howard, we're coming up to the 4 o'clock mark, which is fantastic. You're coming up on 2 hours, and I want to make sure I respect your time. But I know you have quite a bit to share, and you could probably go on for quite a while. But
I'm going to go on. I'll keep going.
Yeah, I just want to make sure you know that I'm.
I have a bus to catch on Monday, but outside.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that you know that I'm being mindful of the time. Steve, do you want to try to unmute? Is the laptop not unmuting for you?
The laptop is unmuted.
Well, because right now the iPhone is unmuted, so that's where I'm getting sound from right now. But the laptop still shows muted on my side of the computer. We'll just give it a try. So right now, it's muted. I'll tell you if it changes. Nothing yet. I'm going to present you to everyone from that camera. It still shows muted.
On
your on the
iPhone?
Laptop, excuse me. The iPhone, if that's the straight on shot is the iPhone, then that's not muted. What is that right now, the forward facing camera? Is that your iPhone?
This is the laptop.
Okay, so then it's your iPhone that needs to be unmuted.
And you want the iPhone unmuted as well?
Yeah, and then I'm going to mute because it's the laptop that seems to be getting the feedback, unfortunately. I'm just trying to. It's not horrible, but it is a little bit distracting. And
I can hear. The problem is I don't have anything to. The
Maybe
iPhone
won't talk as well.
Okay. Okay, we can leave it alone. I don't want to make more of an issue of it than it is. But hopefully you fellas just see right there. There you go. Now let me try to mute this one. Now unmute that other one. The iPhone, unmute the iPhone again. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, so we'll just go with this other camera. So unmute, if you would, please, the laptop, and then we'll just continue. And just be mindful if you hear the feedback. You might have to adjust on your side, whatever that may be. I'm not quite sure what would lead it to that. There you go. Let's just use this one. Sorry, we can continue. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
Okay, now a lot of fellas, including myself, alienate our audience. We don't do it on purpose, but you do alienate your audience. I'm going to give you an example, and you've seen this a million times. 2 sponge balls on the table. I place one in the young lady's hand and the other one in my pocket.
Right.
I know you guys have heard this. How many sponge balls in your hand?
Mm-hmm.
Says 1. Open your hand. 2.
Mm-hmm.
After the word 2, he's missing a word. It should be stupid.
All right.
Balls in your hand. 1. Open your hand. 2. Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You have caused this embarrassment to this person,
Right.
representing the entire audience. I always thought that this was a wonderful moment of magic. 2 balls, 1 in her hand, 1 in my pocket. All of a sudden, she's got 2. Yes, there's applause. Yeah, there is recognition, but not what it deserves. It deserves more, because that's a magical moment to me. So I went and approached Charlie Miller and Di Vernon one night, and I told them the story. Di said to Charlie, you know, we talked about this 35 years ago, Charlie, and Howard's the first person that ever has come up to us to talk about this. And the Vernon said, did he place one in her hand, the other one in his pocket, and asked her how many sponge balls in her hand? She said 1, there was 2. I said, yeah. Listen to the mind thought process of one. This goes true for a card on the table. This goes true for silver, copper, anything. 2 balls. I place 1 sponge ball in your hand, young lady, and the other one in my. How many sponge balls should you have in your hand? Should you have, not are there.
Wow.
Should be 1. And when she opens her hand, there's 2, the place goes crazy. You haven't offended them.
Mm-hmm.
Not how many sponge balls are in your hand, how many sponge balls should there be? And she's giving an honest answer. Should be 1.
Right.
2. Holy God, look what just happened. That's how Vernon thought. That's how Vernon thought.
I like that. That's good.
You know, a lot of magicians, this happened at a Scoriel last year. A very prominent magician said to me in a group, we were out for dinner, Howard, how many hours do you have to work in a week to keep up your pace? How many hours do you have to work? And I said, none. Absolutely none. You don't have to practice whatsoever. It's not necessary. And there was stone silence at the table. And if I told you who were at the table, you would say, gosh. And one of the gentlemen said, would you expound on why you said that? I said, because you want to practice, not have to. Have to is a chore. It's work. I have to go to work today. It's negative right off the bat. If I have to practice an hour a day, it's a chore. If I want to practice, I get positive things out of it. And that's a very, very important thing for you, not wanting just to have to do things. Okay?
That's great.
You know, Charlie, we'll talk about Charlie Miller. Charlie, guys, he told me, he says, Howard, if you ever laugh at this next move that I do in the close-up, I'll never do it again. I'm only doing it for you and Ray Grismer. So every time he came to this moment, I would bite my side so hard I almost draw blood. And Ray would be going, just to keep it in from laughing. This is the great Charlie Miller. Charlie would have someone select a card, it comes back. This is the great Miller. Listen how beautiful this is. He said, at this point, many magicians take the cards under the table. I don't do that. He just did the pass.
Huh.
He's telling you what most magicians do that he doesn't do, and he did. Most magicians take the cards under the table. Not me. And he just did the pass. And I'll share something with you that Charlie did for a deck switch. That was just marvelous. I can't bring up my leg, but in the crook of the leg,
Yeah.
you put, like, here's your leg like this, you put it like this. That's underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got that?
Got it.
In other words, it's in the, like, maybe you could do it. Yeah, it would be here.
Gotcha.
Like that. That's where you. Okay. Charlie would give the audience the impression he was uncomfortable, but that he didn't realize it. But they felt he was. Example. Would you select a card, please? Sure. He'd place it back. Then he would do something with coins. And the audience felt he was uncomfortable because he was leaning forward and things. And they felt bad for him. And then at a moment, maybe 10 minutes down the line, goes like this, and he puts his hair up. That switch.
Wow.
And the audience was happy for him. After all, if he's doing this, he moves his chair. Now, he would also just stand up immediately after that and go forward to the audience. Wow. How the hell can you do that? Switching a deck. A lot of magicians claim that this was something that was invented or discovered by them, but to be honest with you, many of the mechanics back in the 1800s used this idea for deck switches. So visualize this. It's a cloth bag about this big. And it's one of those collapsible wires, you know, that go like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the seam of the top of the bag, right here. Attached to the bottom of the bag is a safety pin. Attached to the safety pin is a piece of strong elastic about this big, elastic cord. Attached to the cord at the end is another safety pin. That safety pin is pinned to the mid-center of his shirt, and his jacket is over it. That bag comes down between his legs, moves his chair up, dumps it in, and stands up, and the thing goes
Wow.
and walks forward to the audience.
Wow.
And that thing hanging on his back, covered by his jacket.
Wow. That's smart.
A lot of drifters used to use it like off to the side of their leg, just under their shirt, but he did it that way. Yeah. But this whole thing of being uncomfortable and then finally saying, that's where he made his deck switch.
Great, Howard. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm going to share something with you that that Charlie sent to me in a letter. He didn't claim it was his. But to me, this is a wonderful effect, and I'd like to share it with you guys. I don't know whose it is. I'll be honest with you. This packet of cards is very, very special. Each pair is a red and black card. They may go black and red and black, but each pair is a red and black card.
Place a red card here. Since they alternate, which one do you think is red? Go with the top. This one? Mm-hmm. You were correct. If you went for this one, I would have given it to you first. But you guessed correctly. It is red. Which one do you think is black? Bottom or top? The bottom? Rudy, which one do you think is red? Top or bottom?
I will say top.
Black. Top. Rudy? Red?
I'll say bottom.
Just a couple more. Steve? Bottom. Last one. Rudy?
Top.
And your choice. The top.
Come on. What the heck? Are you freaking kidding me?
This is a wonderful, wonderful effect. Again,
What the heck?
tell me whose it was, but damn it all, this is great. Now I'm going to show you how this is set up. I start with a single black card, followed by 2 red. Notice I don't use pictures. Followed by 2 black, followed by 2 red, followed by 2 black, and you want 17 cards. I don't use picture cards at all. There's a reason for it. Right now I have 17 cards, and the setup is the top card is a single black followed by pairs of alternate red, black, red, black, red, black, red. Got it?
Gotcha.
This is a very special packet. Each pair is a red and black card, and you show it. Red and black. Sometimes they go black or red, which I know it does because I know how the pattern is. Or red and black.
Mm-hmm.
You show them very deliberately until you get to the last 3, which is where I'm at now. Remember, 17 cards. As I show this one, and notice I'm doing this in the middle position. I came up with this idea because it makes the end of the last 3 easy. As I show these cards, I move this top card over. So that when I show these, I'm showing it in the same way without be doing push-ups. I place a red card here. Now you have to make a kill because you got 2 black. And black card here. Since they alternate, which one do you think is red? Pick the bottom one. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give you that one free. But they say the top, they guessed it right, but you're still showing these cards in red, black. So the red goes down and the black goes underneath. Which one do you think is black, Rudy, top or bottom?
Top.
Which one do you think is red, Rudy?
Red.
Sometimes I do this. Which one do you think is black? You duck the other card. Red, top. We'll do a couple more. Which one? Top or bottom? Bottom. Bottom, right? What do you think? Top or bottom with red? We'll say top. And which one? Bottom, bottom. You duck every single time, which gives you this for an ending.
Wow.
This is the effect. Yeah, black, red, black, red, black, red. Everything goes along exactly the way you show it, and the trick is finished.
That's really great.
It's a wonderful, wonderful effect. I'm trying to research whose this is. I don't.
Really quickly, you know what, Howard, Rick Benstock said it's Tony Chaudhry's. I'm sorry about the name. Feminine Side. It's in Ron Bauer's series of performance scripts. Think Like a Conjurer.
Really?
That's what Rick is saying. Thanks, Rick.
I'm going to look it up because Charlie. I mean, I got the date of the letter that Charlie sent it to me. He sent it to me from a cruise ship. So that's interesting. What is the name again? I know Bauer. Bauer's in Detroit, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, but the gentleman's name, it's called Feminine Side by Tony. The last name is spelled C-H-A. I can, and you'll see. I'll send you the name. But
Yeah, that's Shaduri.
really quickly, so anyway, thanks, Rick, for the credit on that. Tom Gagnon is saying, please talk about Rod the Hop and demo negative strippers, but don't tip, he says. So that's not for us, but,
that's not fair.
But that's from your friend Tom.
Yeah, I know. God bless him. He's one of the most sweet guys in the business. Great mind. His table spread work is just incredible. And the only regret I have is that I didn't meet Tom earlier in my life. What a great guy. I love you, Tom. Maybe we'll go into it in a minute.
And then can you convince him to do a lecture for the forum, please? My good.
Well,
all right.
You're on the phone with them, right?
All right.
Okay. There's a huge difference between magic and magical. Big, big difference. I can teach a 3-year-old to do a magic trick, but it's not magical. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say, for sake of conversation, that your card is the 2 of diamonds and I don't know it. So please, your card in your mind is the 2 of diamonds.
Gotcha.
I say, I believe your card is the 9 of spades. Am I correct?
No, sir.
I cast a shadow over the 9 of spades, and now their card.
Right.
That's magic, but it's not magical. There's a huge difference. It took me a long time to really feel this. I believe your card's a 9 of spades. Am I correct? No, sir. Watch my hands and my shoulder and my head. Why should I be happy that I missed your card? I see magicians. Your card? No, well, wave it over, boom, boom. Right? But I'm showing that I'm disappointed. I missed the card. And I give you the impression I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong without even looking at the audience. And then I go, and I figured it out by this gesture. And I say, what was your card? I say, the 2 of diamonds, not the 9 of spades. I cast a shadow over the 9 of spades. Watch my reaction when I look at it. I'm surprised. I saw the damn 9 of spades down there.
There you go.
That's the same thing in the first example, except this is magical. The other one is magic. What I'm trying to bring out is, if you can show the same emotion that you expect the audience to show you, then everything you're doing is magical. Otherwise, it may be magical to them, but it's not as strong. It's not as strong. Okay.
That's really great.
This next is very, very important. This turned my whole thinking process of magic 180 degrees, and it's important I share this with the audience. It was Charlie Miller, Larry Jennings, myself, Ray Grismer, and the professor. And Larry asked the professor, what is more important, the beginning, the middle, or the end? And the professor thought for a few seconds, and he said, you can't have a strong ending without a strong middle. You can't have a strong middle without a strong beginning. The beginning is the foundation. The middle is the framework. And the end is the finished effect. However, if all 3 of those elements were done flawlessly, the beginning, the middle, the end, there's something more important than those 3 elements combined. Well, I'm on the edge of my seat. And he looked at us and he said, the moment. That's what they go home with, the moment. Not the beginning, not the middle, and not the end, but that moment, or moments. And he picked up his Johnny Walker Red in one hand, a cigar in the other, and he said, Max Malini taught me that. turned my thinking of magic completely around because he was correct. Segue. 6 months later, Jimmy Grippo and I and the professor are out at a restaurant in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And I said to Jimmy, Jimmy, you don't do card to wallet. You do card to sealed envelope. I'm just curious. He said, Howard, let's say the close-up room holds 25 people. And the host, the person who just finished doing his set, just as he's finished, the host comes in and says to the audience, don't leave because there's going to be a magician who's going to do a special effect for all of you. It's going to take 4 to 5 minutes. So it's just a special thing we'd like to have you see, ladies and gentlemen. And out comes the magician who does card to wallet the way we see it. Sign, boom, tap, everything. Jimmy said, we're going to stand outside the exit door and ask everybody that comes out, what did they just see? And he said, Howard, I'll guarantee you that everyone will say the same thing. The magician shuffled the deck, spread it on the table. I had a free selection of a card. I signed the face of the card. It went back into the deck. The magician snapped his fingers, spread the cards, and my card was gone. And he reached into his inside coat pocket and removed a sealed envelope, which I tore open myself. You're not going to believe it. Inside that envelope was my signed card. Mm-hmm. And not one of those people mentioned the war. The moment he's tearing the envelope open and seeing that their card is the only thing inside that envelope and that they're removing it themselves. Am I against card to wallet? Heck no. I love card to wallet. But I understand Jimmy's thinking because he also listened to the professor. He says if they describe it, that's what they're going to describe to their friends. And none of them mention the wallet with the zipper and the sealed wax and all the rest of the stuff. People may disagree with me, magicians. They have the right to. But I did understand Jimmy. So I wanted to share that story. Now, Bob White is a fabulous, fabulous person in magic. He's an elderly gentleman, lives in Texas. He mentored Jared Kopp, who's a wonderful, just a great magician. And Bob White and I were in San Francisco years ago doing a convention, a lecture. And him and I were standing in the lobby of this hotel talking about the professor and Charlie and some of the fellas. And we looked up and there must have been really 35, 40 magicians around us. Very respectful, but they wanted to listen. And Bob took out some cards and he says, look, fellas, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. Are there any questions? And one of them said, maybe it'd be better if you held the cards at more of an angle. This was Bob White's response. They don't care. Should I put the coin in my hand this way or this way? They don't care. We do. They don't. That's something of interest because we stopped thinking like magicians and start thinking like spectators. Right? I asked the professor what the difference was between my generation and his generation. And his response was, today's generation, the methods are far superior. But in his generation, technique and presentation was far superior. Remember, they didn't have much to learn from. They had to just learn by their own teaching, their own reading of some of the old books, right? Let's talk about, oh, by the way, Tom Tom Guy, I love the man. This one's for you, Tom. Tom wants me to do this thing and show you this. I'm not going to. I don't want to talk about it. Maybe later. I don't want to talk about it.
Gosh, go on, the suspense.
Okay.
He sends his love right away back to you.
Okay, that's great. He's wonderful.
You did have a couple of nice round the hop stories.
Oh, well, yeah. Rod was a wonderful guy, but a lot of the audience really don't really know. He's probably one of the best mechanics that ever walked the earth. But I maybe later, but I get very emotional talking about it. This is something that you might get a kick out of. Let's see. Let's do this. Steve, I'm going to turn my back, and I want you to remove a small amount of cards from the middle of the deck and take them under the table. Have you done so?
Yes.
Okay. And I want you to count to yourself how many cards you have, but don't tell me.
Got it.
And I want you to place them on top of the deck and square the deck. Have you done so?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's just review for a moment. Cards were spread after being shuffled. You removed a packet. You took them under the table. The cards were picked up. You took the packet. You took the packet, placed it on here. All I want you to do is, if you took 6 cards, remember the 6 cards from the top. If you took 4 cards, remember the 4th card. Don't. You can show the camera what the card is, but don't let me see it. So whatever number you're going to show that. Have you done so? Done. Now shuffle the cards. And give them a cut. This tells me that your card was a spade. Am I correct? Yes. Wow. Spade. The 5? Was the 5 of spades?
It was.
Was the 5 of spades? Okay. I sort of like this strip. I have a real, I didn't put enough work in it, but it still works. I have a very heavy breather in this card here. 5 of diamonds. Big, really big breather. That's in the deck. The only prerequisite is that I want a black card, a black 5 on top. I don't want a red 5. I don't want a 5 of hearts and a 5 of diamonds breather. So cards are shuffled. I leave the 5 of spades up on top. And I spread from left to right. Very important. I'm going to turn my back, remove a packet of cards, take them under the table. Have you done so? I gather up the cards and I leave them over here. They count them. I place them on top of the deck. 7. If I say to him, count the number of cards you just put on the top of the deck and look at the next card, it's weak. Why didn't I just tell him, look at the top card and be done with it? I mean, that's very weak. I'd have to double undercut this card so that when he counts 7, he'll be looking at the 5 of spades. But I don't want to double undercut the card. How the hell can I get around it? Watch. I spread from left to right when I started. I spread from left to right again. And I drag this top card. I said, a moment ago, a shuffled deck, you removed some cards. You took them under the table, the cards were picked up, and placed, oops. That's my double undercut card. So that when he counts 7, he looks at the 5 of spades. So again, instead of doing a double undercut and having to work with the deck, you just spread like this. And you don't even look at it. You just pick up the cards and you say, oh, oops.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they shuffle the cards and shuffle the cards, and now you have some fun. I see a red card on the bottom. I don't want a red card. And now I see a black card. If I see the 3 of clubs, I would say, this tells me your card's black, but it's the other suit. But in this case, I cut to the 6 of spades. I said, so your card, this tells me your card's a spade. I say, yeah. And now I cut to the breather. I see the 5. The 5 of spades.
Wow.
Okay. It's a miracle. The original effect was you just bluff this and say the 5 of spades. But I like the idea of going like this and say a 5 of spades. Oh, yeah. I had so much fun with that.
I couldn't remember my card or my name when you showed me that. It was shocking.
Evan's mentioning your version of a 21 card trick.
Oh, yeah.
That he believes it's really deceptive and unexpected.
Well, that was one that Charlie sent to me also, which remind me after this, I'll expose it. I'll show it to you.
Okay, thank you.
And you know something? I still don't know how the damn thing works.
Really?
There was a gentleman in Florida, still alive, by the name of Danny Tong.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Tong had a thing called the spread pass. It was like a little his spread. He would just do this, and it looked like 2 cards. Okay, and it was a sandwich, but he was able just to put the cards down like that. And I started messing around with it, but to a point where this was done like this, which was more open, and sometimes I got bored and I did it that way. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Man.
So when you get a deck of cards from your from your card box, and you open them up, and usually it's best that they're brand new and not any oil from your fingers and so forth. All the cards are concave. By 1,000th of an inch, they're concave. This is convex. So I want to get the air between this surface, that surface, this surface, and this surface. I want to get the air removed. I press these face up against my fingers. My thumb is here just to pull down a little. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the burp. Yeah, you can see it, right? See that burp of air?
Yeah.
Yeah, that allows this. And I mean, I could say to a spectator here, let's just leave them over there. Do anything you want. Sometimes, like I say, I get a little bored and I do it that way.
Wow.
Or I'll say to a spectator, I'll tell you what, let's just leave the cards over there.
That looks good.
I'm confident in this work, right? I'm confident in this. One day I said to a spectator who was sitting to my right, let's just leave the cards over there. And she touched them. I learned something. So I take the box and I massage the flap. If you'll notice, there's an angle. Can you see the angle because the flap is made this up? See the angle here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on this side too. So when it's here, I say maybe it'd be better if we leave them under the box. Because this angle makes enough weight on the back of this box to keep that from splitting.
Wow.
Then I say to them, what was the name of your card? Say it. I say, is it in the card box? I flip it off of this. I still have my sandwich.
Wow.
So, yeah. But anyhow, yeah. We just do this. It stays.
Wow.
Nothing moves. Okay. Then I discovered that if I hit the card box on the corner, it moves the card box like this, and then I throw them underneath. Well, the logical question is, why don't you just do it? Why do that? Why don't you just do it the way you're doing it? Because I noticed that with technique, I can move the box this way and watch what happens to the cards. Nothing. It's a sandwich. And now I pick them up and say maybe they'll be safer under there. So, I mean, I'll exaggerate it so you can see it better. But if I hit the corner,
Wow.
there's my sandwich. So I'm just picking up the card and saying, I just leave it over there.
Jeez. God, that looks good. It look good up close, Steve?
I'm just fried over here.
You know, Larry Jennings, I don't know if I can do with these because these might be a little dirty by now. But Larry Jennings had an effect called the collectors, which 4 cards found 3. And I use this whole air thing. I don't know if I can do it, but I'll pray. Your card, your card, your card. There's the 4 cards hitting the table. See, it gets a little oil on it. But there's the 4-card spread, and there's yours, yours, and yours. And sometimes, for lack of anything better to do, I do. Oops, I had it on the wrong side. I had the card on the wrong side. But if you have a new deck, this works a lot better. But there's the 4 cards.
Wow.
There's the selections. Okay.
Really quickly, can you, I don't know if it'll be too difficult here, but I'd like to see a little bit closer what your hand is doing, you know, the grip you're holding those cards to take
Okay.
them out of them.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
There we
Remember now we said that these were concave, and this is convex, right?
Yeah.
Can you see that? Okay, there we go. Maybe like that.
That's much
So
better.
what I'm doing is I'm holding the sandwich like this.
Okay.
I'm pressing this against these fingers.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm pulling down that corner. I'm not crimping it, but you can actually see the air pop out of that corner.
Wow.
That allows that.
Wow.
And like I say, you know, I could throw them all over the place. I will show you something else that I don't know if I can do it on the surface, but I'll try.
That's great. Thanks for that close-up, Steve. That was really helpful.
Sometimes, like I'll put the cards down like this. If I showed this card, the sandwich, if I showed it to you, that's terrible. You can see where it's coming from.
Sure.
Right? That's bad. But I have 3 additions to what I just did with the cards in this configuration. I didn't want to give up on them. So I say, by the way, is this your card? No, we'll get back to it in a minute. So yeah, it can be done. This can be taken away and still keep the double. Jeez. But like I say, you have to have decent cards.
Wow.
It's not your card. Okay, we'll get back to it when you got this.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. Can I keep going?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I won't stop you. But you know, don't be afraid at a certain point when you said, and I'm done. But no, everybody's saying that this is high point of the lecture. Everybody's just enjoying it. So
I'm just having a good time too, fellas.
yeah, thank you, Mark.
Martin Nash. This is a Martin Nash story. It was Di Vernon, myself, Ray Grismer, and the professor preceded to see Martin Nash, the charming chief. No one could do a wonderful act of gambling routine better than Martin Nash. He had that gaudy jacket, he had that mustache and the jewelry, and he played the part perfectly. So he tells the host, I need 2 people at the table who can shuffle cards. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Nash. And he comes out, and he breaks out a brand new deck of cards, takes the cellophane off, takes the jokers and the ad cards out, spreads the cards, and he said, sir, can you shuffle? I said, sure. He says, how about you? Shuffle your cards. Good, good, good. And I'll give him half, and you give the other guy the other half, and now you shuffle. And I turn to Vernon and I say, we're going to have a deck switch. They're making confetti out of this thing. And he had a beautiful deck switch out of his coat pocket. Beautiful deck switch. But he says, now he the cards, he said, here, he puts them in the middle. He said, let's see, you only shuffled twice, didn't you, sir? He said, no, I shuffled 4 times. Oh, you never cut. No, I cut 3 times. Deal out 26 pairs of cards. Ovation. He says, point to a pack. 2 red 7s. Point to another one. 2 red kings. 2 black aces. And, he spread the cards, and it's true. 2 red 6s. From pair 1, pandemonium. Pictures were coming off the wall. People were going ballistic. From pair 8 to pair 15, from pair 16 to pair 25, I've heard more noise in a mortuary. And he's got 1 pair left, and he says, that's 2 red 6s. What did you think of that? And I swear to you, I'm not making this. Oh, no, Earl Nelson was there because Earl calls me every so often about it. I forgot about it. He snaps his hands and he says, what'd you think of that? And this is exactly what you heard. I'm not fibbing you. Vernon went in his sleep. Vernon was asleep in the back row. And exactly what do you think of that? Yeah, very good. This next thing is a effect that I really like. It's Jim Steinmeyer's. Jim Steinmeyer came out with a book in 2006 called Impuzzabilities. And it was based on a 9-card system. Let me just show you. He starts out with 9 cards. He has you select one, and he puts it in the 3rd position from the top. So I'm doing tilt into the 3rd position. And then a series of questions and so forth, and he discovers your card. I had a problem with the effect in that, why is the magician just have this many? He has to have 9 or it doesn't work. Why just this many? Why not this many? Why not this many? Why? The audience starts, why just that? So I came up with this idea. I shared it with Jim, and he really liked it. I have them shuffle, and I take 5 cards, which they don't know, and drop them, and then 3. I don't want to drop 4 and 4. I said, you shuffle, and I'm going to mix these cards up, and I'm going to have you select a card. You know what? Let's be fair about it. Select one. That's the 9th card. I'm not starting with 9, but this is strong. I'm going to have him select a card. No, let's be fair about it. Go ahead, select a card. So go ahead and select it. Okay. And I would say, I'm going to place your card in the packet. But see, they later on, they'll think that they never took a card from it. They took a free choice. In a moment, Steve, not yet, I'm going to ask you just for the value of your card. And you can lie or tell the truth. I'll give you an example. If it was a heart, you can say it was a club. You can lie or tell the truth. If it was a 2, you can say it's a queen. If it's an ace, you can say it's an 8. What was the value?
10.
10. T-E-N. I can't do much with the word of. It's over. Now, in a moment, not yet, I'm going to ask you for the suit of the card. If it's a spade, you can say it was a heart. I don't care. What was the suit of the card? Clubs. C-L-U-B-S. Now, just using the word true or just using the word false, which of those 2 words epitomizes the information you gave me? And you can lie or tell the truth.
Well, it was all BS, Howard, so false.
F-A-L-S-E. What was really the
Really,
not the 10 of clubs?
no.
Yeah, bro.
Now, there's a few things that I do with this. So instead of having start with 9, and I wouldn't have come up with this if it wasn't for Jim's thinking. He made me think further. I start out with 5 and 3 and say, go ahead, select a card. I'm letting them think, geez, why just this many? You know what? Let's make it fair. Select one. That's the first thing. Now, let's say the card is the 5 of diamonds. I put it in the 3rd position from the top. I say, in a moment, not yet. Because if you say, I'm going to ask you for the value, it's a 5. I don't want that. So, in a moment, not yet. I'm going to ask you for the value of the card. And you can lie or tell the truth, for example. See, I don't give them a chance to even talk. If it's an ace, you can say it's an 8. I use a 3 letters with 5. It just throws everything off here. And they say, give me another value. 9. 9. N-I-N-E. You spell the thing out. They say 8, E-I-G-H-T, and you drop the rest of the cards on top of them. Now, you can't do much with the word of. O-F. Drop them on top. And then you say, in a moment, I'm going to ask you, not yet, because I don't want to answer, for the suit of the card. And you can lie or tell the truth. If it was a club, you could say it was a diamond. What was the suit? Diamond. You always spell the plural. You said it was a club, you just go C-L-U-B-S. I don't need to explain anything. So it's a diamond, D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S. Drop. Now, I remember, what was it? It was diamonds, but what was the original thing you said it was?
I originally said 10 of clubs for the 5 of diamonds.
No, but this one just now. I asked you for the. Oh, you said it was
9 of diamonds.
Yeah, you said it was a 9. Mm-hmm. I remember what he told me. That he said the 9 and diamonds. I remember this. So for the first time, by you, using the word true or false. Notice I use a 4-letter word and a 5-letter word. I don't want to say truth and false. No good to me. So I don't know if you told me 1 true statement, 2 true statements, 1 was first, 1 was second. But just using the words true or the word false, which one epitomizes the information given? If he says true, T-R-U-E, this goes forward. If he says false, F-A-L-S-E. I know it's a 5 of diamonds, it's my breather. And so now I say, really, what was your card? And he says the 5 of diamonds. I see, not the 9 of diamonds. So it looks like it doesn't make any difference in the tricks over it.
That's great.
So I hope you guys like that. It's a great trick.
Thanks, Howard. Appreciate that.
Onward and upward. We're sitting down in the Hat and Hare. It's a room downstairs in Cassia, and it was the professor, Michael Skinner, Larry Jennings, Johnny Thompson, Charlie Miller, Ray Grismer, myself. We're sitting at the table. Meanwhile, there's 35 people. Oh, they see cards and stuff. They want to see something. And Larry had just done a matrix effect. And the professor said to Larry, could I borrow one of those silver dollars? Larry pushed it over there. The professor picked it up. He says, 1880. Michael, what's the date on this? And Michael started to come this way. And he went back. Oh, it's a 2. Thank you, Michael. 1882. He said, that's when the first annex of Wall Street was built in New York, 1882. Oh, yeah, that was the year of Susan B. Anthony, women's suffrage in Rochester. He's giving us a history of 1882. He says, there's a D after the date. What's that? Johnny Thompson says, it's the Denver Mint, professor. They put a D after it. He said, mine's not as nice as this. Mine's 1880. 1894. But mine says SF. I never understood that. And I chirp up, well, San Francisco, that's the Mint. And they put the letters where it meant. That's amazing. Now, mind you, he's in 7 minutes into this thing. Gone.
Mm-hmm.
Gets up, goes up to the library where we play hearts. I go up there and I see the professor, and he says, "Oh, give this back to Larry." I said, "Guy, I burned you through that whole effect. I never saw you go out with a coin. So I never had it." When Larry put it over here, he lapped it.
Oh.
For 7 minutes about a coin he never had in his hand. Peter said he saw it. Because when he said the date, 1880, what is it, Michael? Michael came over and he went, "Oh, it's a 2. Thank you, Michael." He thought he saw it. 7 minutes about a damn coin. And the audience went ballistic.
Wow.
He never had the coin. Just amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Vernon also did this. How many times do we see magicians shuffle cards? I'm one of them. Took me a while. And then you want to just be really good about to the audience. Look, they're mixed. Well, of course they're mixed, unless you're doing false shuffles. Of course they're mixed.
Mm-hmm.
So Vernon, if he had a stack towards the top of the deck, he would have a joker, 12, 14, 15 cards in the bottom. He would do his false shuffles and his false cuts, and then he'd say, "Oh, by the way, you know something? We don't need the joker. But look what he's showing you. A mixed deck without saying a word about it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the joker."
Right.
His stats. Now, of course, being with him for 22 years, I knew every time he did that, he had a stack. So we were downstairs in the sitting around, a bunch of us. Larry always had a beer in his hand. He loved beer. He drank beer. Had the bottle. So Vernon says, "I'm going to show you guys something." There's a whole big audience, and he's shuffling. He says, "Oh, by the way," he says, we don't need the joker. We don't need the joker." He said, Larry, here, shuffle. Oh, make believe you have a beer in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Beer, this is a
Right,
beer.
right.
He says, "Larry, shuffle." "Oh, you're busy." He said, "Yeah, how are you? You shuffle." "How many times?" He said, "Shuffle 2, 3 times. Give him a cut." I handed the deck back to Vernon, and he proceeded to do a trick that got a 2-minute ovation from the people watching, and the magicians were like this.
Mm-hmm.
A miracle we just saw. I go upstairs and I see the professor. We're going to play hearts, and I see him. He says, "Isn't it a good thing us older guys remember things?" I said, "Yep." Because when he handed me the deck, I false shuffled and false cut it. I gave it back to him. And I said, "But how did you know that I remembered about the joker?" He said, "When I removed the joker, I sort of looked at your face, and there was a tell that it convinced him that I remembered that."
Wow.
So instead of giving me the deck directly, he handed it to Larry Jennings to shuffle, but he had a beer in his hand. He said, "You're busy. How are you, shuffle?" And he proceeded to do a miracle.
That's great.
Okay? By the way, how many of you people out there know how Vernon got the name the professor?
You know, I don't. Let's see. Somebody's typing here. Patrick's typing the answer. I don't know if anybody knows.
Well, while he's typing it, and before everyone gets to do Google, I don't know if you'll find it in Google, you probably won't. There was a prominent attorney in New York by the name of Garrick Spencer, Garrick, a very well-to-do attorney who took lessons from the professor when the professor was in New York after he came from Canada and went to New York. And in fact, this same Garrick Spencer financed Vernon's Harlequin Act. The Harlequin Act he did. He financed that. And also, Garrett represented Paul Rossini when Carlo Rossini sued Paul Rossini for using his last name. And he won the case. He was the one that gave the moniker the Professor. Just a piece of trivia.
Wow.
Do me a favor. Would you mind shuffling the cards, sir? And give him a cut. Now, you can cut the deck anywhere you want. Look at the card. You can show them. Look at the card. I'll turn my back. Look at the card. Go ahead. Put it down. Square them up. Remember it?
Got it.
Okay. Give the cards a shuffle. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put some packets down here. You can start at either end. You're going to look at the cards in that packet. If you see your card, put it face down in my hand. But if you don't, use your best poker expression and put any card face down in my hand, making it look as though that was your card. So either end you can start. Put the cards. If you see it, place it face down. If you don't, put the packet over here, get rid of it. Next one. If you see it, place it face down. If you don't, go ahead. Next one. Make sure you see all the cards in all these packets. It's very, very important. See it, put it here. If you don't see it, put any card here. You're trying to fake me out. Next one. I'm trying to read you here. Go ahead, last one. So remember now, he shuffled the deck, he cut, he made the packets, he's going through them. We know one thing, he told the truth on one of these cards, and he lied about the other four. We know that for a fact. Admit myself. Hope I'm correct. What was the name of your card? 4 of Cups.
Wow, that's great. I don't know.
They do shuffle. They do cut. There's no key cards, there's nothing. But there's estimation. When he cuts, I only look at this packet. I want to see this packet. I don't care what's here. He sees the card. He puts it down, squares them up. I cut to where I think that packet was that I saw, and I shuffle. And I look. Now, I double undercut approximately 10 cards to the top. Right now, his card is in the top packet, but I don't want it to be in the top packet. So I put the cards down, few cards here, few cards here, few cards here, few cards here. His card is here. I didn't want to go boom, 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 and it's here, or boom, 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 it's here. I put it, I get it so this it's here. He looks at the cards, he puts a card, he puts a card. Go through it. But what was your card?
The 4 of Cups.
No, this one.
This is the King of Diamonds, I think.
King of Diamonds, yeah.
Always in this bag. Always will be there. Don't worry about it. So when he gives me that card, that's the third card. And when I get to the middle packet, I say, make sure you look at them all. I say, I want to see what the card is. I don't know what it is yet. So you told me the truth on one of them. I just saw it. You told me the truth on one of them. I just saw it. And you put on the other 4. King of Diamonds, King of Diamonds. How does this work? So listen, I've had so much fun with this. I hope you have as much fun as I've had. They don't have to be all knuckle busters, guys. So when he cuts here, he sees the 3 of spades. I looked at that bottom packet. I don't care about anything else. And I see this is about what it is. I shuffle. These 10 cards that go on top before I make the packets help me to whether I cut too low or cut too high. When I did the cut in the shuffle, those 10 cards helped me whether I did cut too high or too low. So when boom, 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 and I got the last packet left on the middle, and I say, what was your card? The 3 of spades, and trick is done.
Jeez.
Always going to be there. But
Wow.
I don't like to go boom, 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 boom. I like to go here and here and here and here and here.
Wow.
In this packet.
Awesome.
As long as you look at the bottom, if, for instance, let's say he does this. Here's a 3 of clubs. I pick it up. I shuffle them. I can show them they're being mixed. Let them push them together. But 10, I make the packets. Boom, 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 boom. The middle packets. This one, what was the card? 3 of what? Clubs. Trick done.
Dang, what the heck? That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Hey, that's Tom Gagnon saying superb lecture. He's
Listen, did the gentleman figure, did he write down, was it Garrett Spencer?
no, nobody got it. Luis says he'd read about it, but he had forgotten, so nobody had knew what that was. So that's great.
Let's talk about the Wieser concept, because it's very, very important.
Right?
Bob Wieser came out with a count called, not the Wieser count, but the Wieser concept. Because Elmsley already had the Elmsley count. He didn't want to make it the Wieser count, he made it the Wieser concept. By the way, I don't know how many of you realize this, but Alex Elmsley was married 4 times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No one ever saw his 3rd wife, but they saw his 1st wife twice. Only from Okay, so how does the Wieser concept work? It's going to be the same position of the card in the Elmsley position. I'm going to do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yet I keep that card there and I counted 4. So how do I do that? Is this live? Can you see this?
I can make it. Let me put that camera up. There you go. Go for it.
Okay, I push this card towards my hand. See where it's, I'm holding it here, so I'm looking at it backwards, but I push the card towards my hand. Now I take off 1 single, leave it at the end of the fingertips. This is going to line up with that side jog card as I grab these 2 and say 2. This one is 3. I don't put them together. I leave them like this. And this card is bent slightly. See how I bend it slightly?
Yeah.
And these corners go right on top. Right on top. This finger hits it, puts it down. You can see part of that 4th card. Well, there were 4 cards.
Mm-hmm.
But I hid this. So how do I use something like that? This is rather an absurd example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yet I'm able to hide all this. You cannot do that with an Elmsley. You can't put the cards down like that. Right? So I mean, if I had this situation, I'm kicking this over. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards.
Wow.
And I hid whatever I want to hide.
Nice.
So I developed an effect that uses this concept in conjunction with a challenge that the professor gave me regarding anticipation by your audience. You don't want your audience to anticipate the outcome of an effect, because if they're correct, you'll get 50% of the response. So I came up with this using that concept of the song. I like taking an audience down the path, but when they get here, I'm going straight. They can't get back to me in time. They think they got it figured out, but it's too late. So it turns on them, not to make them foolish, because they can only make themselves feel foolish. I don't make them foolish. They make themselves foolish. 8 cards. I'm going to show you these in 2 groups of 4, okay? I don't call these the kings. I call them the gentlemen of the deck because I want to show them respect. I place a gentleman here, a gentleman here, a gentleman in this corner, and a gentleman over here. The ladies. I call them the ladies, not the queens, because again, same respect. And I place a lady here next to this gentleman, a lady next to this gentleman, and I repeat same thing down here. So it's simple. 4 and 4. That consists of 2 ladies between 2 gentlemen. Yet, if I do this, we have 3 gentlemen and 1 lady. If I wait just a second, I now have all the gentlemen here. And what should these be? A ladies. Girls' night out.
Great. Really good. Wow. Awesome.
You see this display? That's why the Visa concept is a very, very good thing. It's an excellent thing.
Wow.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Howard, do you want to mention because you said that you were going to give the fellows here a special on your lecture notes and Mystical 13.
Yeah, I have I'll do Mystical 13 for you guys. I hope I'm not putting you guys to sleep.
I think nobody's going anywhere. I think everybody's loving it.
I have a thing called Mystical 13 on one of the most proud effects that I've ever created. And by the way, people ask me how I create an effect. And it was Francis Carlyle that gave me the advice. You start at the end. And your card was the 3 of clubs. Thank you. What did you do before that? What was the step before that, before that, before that, before that, and now the beginning? Well, there's 9 steps. How can I get rid of 1? Yeah, I can put number 2 and 4 together. But then I don't need 5. And now I have an effect. I start at the end and work backwards. Mystical 13, I'll demos for you. I did it at Magic Live. And I don't want to brag, but some prominent magicians came up to me and said, "We never saw the deck switch." I said, "Thank you." Because there is none. There's no deck switch. This is my notes, the D notes. 40 pages with some very, very interesting pictures. There's Michael Skinner, David Roth, myself, Jeff Altman, Steve Freeman, and Michael Skinner. All in one place. And there was another picture in here of the professor doing a coin effect for a magician. 20 years later, I discovered that you could see the coin backflip right there. Really never posed for this. That hidden prediction trick is here. I'm going to do another one that's in there, a couple more that I do. And there's pictures and stories. And, oh, by the way, I also had a friend who's a photographer take pictures. Remember the picture, the one clipped with the paper clip? So he took pictures and then changed them to line drawings.
That's nice.
Follows with a red arrow and so forth. And there's a trick in here called Aces Galore, which is the same. I do the same thing with it. So I'll do it later for you. But it's all line drawings. Anyhow, I'm selling both of them for $35. You go ahead and both for $35. How you're going to get them? I guess you have to email me, which I'll maybe really give you my email.
Yes.
And I don't think probably $4 for shipping. I'll sign them for you, whatever. But,
That's awesome. Thanks, Howard.
PayPal and all that stuff. Anyway. Let's see. Okay, so we're sitting at the table. I had just done an effect. I was in the middle of an effect. The lady returned the card. Johnny Thompson was sitting to my right, a bunch of us. And all of a sudden I hear telephone call, line 2, Howard Hamburg. And it was Jim Pat. James was just a great guy. But he was a bartender one time at the main bar at the Magic Castle. So I am looking around at the bar to see if he's just busting me because of the fact that I was doing a trick and he's just playing a joke. And I don't see him. And all of a sudden, telephone call, line 2, Howard Hamburg, please. So I get up, I hand the deck to Johnny Thompson. I said, Johnny, hold the brake till I get back. And he did. Came back after the phone call and finished the trick. You know, I do this. You can play around with it. First of all, if you notice when you have a spectator select a card, a lot of them will do this. But what matters what they do? Go ahead and select the card. No. Yeah. So I relax their mind by saying, it's immaterial what card you select. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Steve, do me a favor. Just go ahead and select one out. Okay. Now, you look at it, and I said, here, let's leave it right in the middle. Place it right on here. Over here. And I have a situation where I think I know what your card is. I believe your card was the 4 of hearts.
Yes.
Okay. Here's where I use a force card that because it wasn't taken, I changed to a key card. Why waste it? I'm going to force the Queen of Hearts. I say, look, it doesn't matter which card you select. It really doesn't. I hold a huge break. And I said, here, go ahead and select one. They'll go for the bigger break. But let's say they don't go for the Queen of Hearts, or whatever the card was. I can't remember. What was it? Whatever. Let's say this was at 9 hearts. They go down here. I said, here, leave it in the middle. And so now the force card is now a key card. It's just a little thing that you can, you know, for instance, if you want, let's say you wanted to force one of these cards. Let's say you wanted to force one of these. You know, you can say, here, go ahead and select a card, or say stop. But I do this. I said, look, go ahead and select. I get my hands on all the other cards. They're over there. This is closer to them. They'll take one. Or I'll spread the cards and I'll say, here, doesn't matter. Just go ahead and select.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe this is a run of cards, or it's a sequence of a stack or something. You know, but I do like this one here, because when you do this and say, go ahead, select one, they can't select here. They're going to select one there. It's only common. It's only people are lazy, just like I am. I would take one of those cards. Tony Giorgio was one of my closest friends for 53 years. Like I say, one of the best hand muckers, one of the best dice men I ever ran across in my life. Great guy. We're at the castle. It was a Wednesday, and he had about 4 or 5 women that he was doing some tricks for at the bar. These were women from the local, you know, there's a lot of studios in Hollywood, and they were from 20th Century Fox. And, you know, he says, select the card, and it comes out of his mouth, and hold my wrist, and I got him here. They weren't that impressed. They just seen a whole bunch of magic. And I'm sitting next to him, right to his left, and I whisper in his ear, "Go south," which means go out with the card. Go ahead, select the card. So, the card's brought back and back, and he's here, and he's out with the card. He hands it to me. And I walk over to the castle. You can't see where the woman's room is, blocked by the stairs. I walked over to the woman's room, and janitorial, no answer. I go in, and I put her card face up on the toilet seat in the third stall. I come back, and he's still talking, and I say to him, "Woman's room, toilet seat." Now, him and I would double cross each other many times, but I didn't want to do this here. This is the wrong thing to do. He said, "Your card's gone, and it can appear in any room in the castle you like. The kitchen, the hat and hair bar, the woman's room, name one." Well, which one do you think she said?
Right.
The woman's room, because she's safe with that. He says, "Go." She says, "Go to the woman's room." She comes out screaming, holding her dad's signed card. Never left the bar. It's the best thing they ever saw in their life. They never seen anything better. 6 months go by, and Tony and I are sitting at the end of the bar, and Larry Jennings and Tony didn't see eye to eye. There was a long hatred thing amongst them. Not from jealousy, it was from something else. And Larry was about 8 stools down. And Tony and I are having a glass of wine. And a fellow member comes up with his fiance. And he says, "Mr. Hamburg, Mr. Giorgio, this is my fiance. And this is the first time she's been here. Would you mind? Could you do something as a favor? Could you do something for her? She's never seen any magic before." The cards were on the bar. Tony's looking at him. He looks at me. That's it. We hadn't done this thing in 7 months. But that's all we had to do was look at each other. Go ahead and select the card. It's a Friday night now. The place is jammed. Comes back, out with it, and the late Daryl Martinez. He had a girlfriend, and used to have different colored hair and everything. Anyhow, she was standing next to the fireplace, and I said, "Do me a favor. Can you put this in the woman's room on the toilet seat and sort of steer the lady in the blue dress towards the there?" He said, "Of course so." Card's gone. Could be anywhere. Parking lot, a library, the woman's room. Where would you like it? It's a woman's room. Go. She comes out. I'm not embellishing it. This color. Holding the card. Screaming. And she's this color. And the place comes to a halt. There's no more talking. Jennings, 5, 6 stools on. What happened? Tony says, "The lady selected a card, it disappeared. I never left the bar. I gave her a choice where it could be. She picked the woman's room, and it was on the toilet seat." Jennings slammed his fist so hard on that bar that my wine glass actually ripped. "Damn it, that's my trick." I invented card to urinal. Now, Tony wrote an article in the Genie magazine. Had it for years. You can verify the story because what I just told you is word for word in that 2-page thing of Genie. In it at the end, he says, in order to make sure that magic history is kept, card to urinal belongs to Larry Jennings. But card to woman's toilet seat belongs to Howard Hamburg. Listen, I could do this this one. The one that I showed you that was in the book. Would you,
Aces galore.
yeah, do me a select a card, please? I haven't done this in a while. And show them. Back.
Gotcha.
And place it somewhere in the middle deck. Do you see it? See the card?
Yes, sir.
Do the cards that will shuffle. Actually, came up with this for the professor's birthday. Steve, I want to ask you to do me a favor. It's a yes or no answer. Yes or no. You all saw the card, right?
Yes, sir.
Was part a red card?
No.
It was not. Then it wasn't the ace of diamonds.
No.
No. Wow. Wow. Jeez. Gosh, that's great. That's the one. 5 of clubs. Wow.
It's one that's in the notes too.
Gosh. Awesome.
I must. Let's see. When do we start?
Well, I was just gonna say we're 3 hours and nearly 15 minutes in, and I gotta say this has been phenomenal. And the guys are gonna hate me, but I have to. We only have about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm gonna just finish up with a very, very emotional story that means so much to me. I started to tell you at the beginning about Howar.
Yes.
For 22 years, the professor called me Howar. How are you? How are you? I came home one evening from work, and my late wife, Barbara, said, "It's your birthday. Let's go out and celebrate it." I said, "No, I'll go get some Chinese food and we'll have it at the house." And like a good wife, get in the car, make a left or right, a left or right, a left or right, a left. And we're at a big restaurant in Los Angeles area. We walk in and we walk down this corridor, and the doors open, and surprise, Michael Skinner, Tony Giorgio, the professor, Charlie Miller, Huda Bucks, a lot of my friends. There were 70. My wife threw a surprise birthday party. And about 8 o'clock, 8:15, the professor approached me and he said, "Howar, I have a card for you." And it said to my friend Howar, inside was his birthday card. Inside the birthday card, he had written 25 ways of calling a prostitute a prostitute. It's all his handwriting, and he signed it. And on the side, it says, "Girl of negotiable affections." He's got his name written down here, and it says, "My favorite." He loved that one. They were like Cat House Cutie and Sailor's Delight and Sin's Sister. I mean, the dirtiest one here was Butt Peddler. I think that was the worst. So he gives me the card. That was my birthday card from the professor. About 11:15, he comes up to my wife and I. He says, "Howar, I've got a special card for you." He said, "I don't want you to read it here or read it in the parking lot. I want you to read it at home." He said, "Barbara, make sure he only reads it at home." My wife said, "Sure, Professor." I get home and I thank my wife for this wonderful surprise. And she said, "Oh, the professor gave you a card." And I took it out, and it was a lovely card. "Thank you for friendships." Which I have to interject. When people ask me what magic means to me, since I don't do it professionally, I never chose to. What magic means to me is friendships and memories.
Yes, sir.
So when I'm concluded with our little get-together, I've added some more memories and all of your friendships out there that I've mentioned. Very important. So, and it was a sealed envelope, a coin envelope. And I held it up to the light, something in it. So mind you, he called me Howar for 22 years. And I tore the envelope open and I poured onto my hand the letter D. For 22 years, he called me Howar, and he gave me that damn D for my birthday. And so now you'll understand on my D notes and why I call them the D notes. It means so much to me.
Wow.
I called him 2 days before he passed away. He was with his son down in San Diego. And his son told me he's not doing well. Robert told me he wasn't doing well. And he gave the phone to the professor. And I said, I love you, professor. He said, I love you too. How are you? That was it. When I came back to the castle, right after that reading card, I saw the professor sitting there. I said, good evening, how are you? There was no need to even discuss it. I mean, why discuss it? We knew. So for all those years, and then he gave me that D for my birthday. That's why it's a very emotional story for me. Anyhow, I hope to run across all you guys sometime in the near future. I'm going to tell you what my email is. It's HHAMBURG, Howard Hamburg, 4 @gmail.com. If you have a question, please fire it off. I'll be more than happy to answer it, whatever it is. If you're going to come to LA area, give me a call. If I'm in town, you're my guest at the Magic Castle. And this has been a lovely thing. And again, if you're interested in the D notes and the mystical, I didn't even do mystical 13. You want me to do it or not do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. We're going to have to use the honor system here. I need another. Actually, we've got.
Want this out of your hand?
Which?
Just there?
No. I need that there. You know, the number 7 is considered a very, very, very lucky number by Americans. Okay, just like the 4-leaf clover is a lucky number. We took that from the Irish, I guess. A friend of mine is a prominent magician in Beijing. He says their lucky number is 8. But it's interesting that the word 8 in Chinese means wealth. Sure does. My lucky number is 13. And it works with certain cards. I'll get back to that in a minute. Steve, I want you to withdraw out of that stack of cards a spot card, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, and place it face up here. And then I'm going to ask Rudy, call off another numbered card, but not a 5.
Okay, how about the 2 of hearts?
Okay, good. One of you gave me a 5, and one gave me a 2. Who gave me the 2?
I did, Rudy.
All I'm going to do is count to 13. That's my lucky number. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to place your 2 face up on the packet and bury it. Steve, you gave me a 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Same procedure, nothing changes here. Bury it. Jokers are wild in every card game I've ever played. Rudy, what number, or anyone can tell me, what number would you like this to be between 2 and 13?
How about 10?
10, 11, 12, 13. Again, the same procedure. So the 2, the 5, and the joker arrive where they are by using 13. And I'm going to remove the 2 and the 5 and the joker with the card adjacent to it. Adjacent to the 2, we have an ace. Adjacent to the 5, an ace.
Wow.
And adjacent to the joker, an ace. To find the last ace, we use your numbers. You gave me a 2 and you gave me a 5 is 7. And what did you make the joker?
I said 10.
A 10? So 10 and 5 is 15 and 2 is 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now, I got to be perfectly honest with you guys. This has absolutely nothing to do with the 2 and the 5. It has everything to do with the joker. Because if you made the joker, Rudy, a 3, I would have had to count 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you made it a 7, I would have had to count 14, but you made it a 10. The only combination of your 10, your 2, and your 5 to find the last ace.
Wow, that's awesome. Bravo.
At the beginning, I did mention that 13 was a lucky number for me for certain cards, and by now you can see what they are. Aces. It doesn't work with any other card in the deck except aces. I can prove it. Watch.
Oh, man. Wow.
Thank you for making it a 2. Thank you for making it a 5. And thank you for making it a 10.
That's awesome.
That's Mystical 13. The most difficult move is holding a break at the beginning.
That's awesome.
The rest of it's done. Anyhow, I thank all of you. I have any questions, please don't hesitate contacting me. And this has been a pleasure. And did you, just out of curiosity, were you able to connect with Alan?
Yes, I did. I was just mentioning to the fellas that Alan Ackerman will, in fact, be he will be doing a lecture for us at the first weekend in October, it looks like. So him and I are still discussing that, but he's thank you, Howard, for making that happen. I really do appreciate it. And you know, one of the things I love about these lectures is, you know, we're there, it feels like we're in a session with you in your home, which we are. There you are at your house, and it feels so, you know, organic, and like we're right there with you. And I appreciate your generosity and sharing your magic, and the stories were just as magical as what you demonstrated for us here in terms of just the
well, if you had half the time, or my fellow magician members, and now that I'm a member of the Magicians Forum, had as half a good a time as I've had, and it's been a successful day for me.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you, and it's great just to become friends with you in just the short time. It truly is. I can tell that magic for you is all about the friends and the relationships you're making, and I'm glad to now be able to count you as a friend. And so thank you so much, Howard. I hope we'll see more of you there over at the forum. And for the rest of you fellas, thank you so much for joining us. Steve, Christian, thank you for being such a wonderful co-host over there and helping to navigate the cameras and the angles. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to help me with this.
Okay, take care, guys.
All right, fellas, thank you so much. I'll send this link out to the recording in about, it usually takes about half an hour or so to render, but you'll get the link here shortly. So thank you guys so much. And please do me a favor and go to the forum and let folks know what a great time we had here. It helps, you know, generate some energy and helps our community grow. So go and boast about how fantastic Howard was. And I'll see you guys at our next lecture. Again, thanks, Howard. You're a great guy.
So are you.
All right, y'all. Bye. Have a great night.
I know.
Bye.